Hoka hey, Alita Army. Welcome to the Alita live stream of January. January. I get my mind messed up here. January the 24th, 20. Jesus, Gary, 2025. Alita Battle Angel and Cyberpunk 2077 parallels. So anyway, where we discuss all things to do with the movie Alita Battle Angel, the source manga Gundam, and the greatly desired sequels. I am your host, Creek Indian, who just had several senior moments. And
well, it is hard to believe we're in 2025.
Yeah, it does.
Well, remember, those aren't senior moments. Those are moments of ancient enlightenment.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's what that is. Okay. So anyway, I'm in Denver, Colorado, or actually southwest of Denver, Colorado, in a nice metro area called Littleton. So we're doing pretty good here. And down there way south of Denver, actually even south of Colorado Springs, is Lee. How's it going, Lee?
No, not too bad. Oh, just to let you know, Matthew left some messages in private for you.
Oh, yeah, I see that. Thanks. And from France, we have Mathieu. How's it going, Mathieu?
Bonsoir, Alita Army. It's doing fine. How are you doing?
I am doing sehr gut, as they would say in Germany. So that's what I'm doing. So anyway, it's good to have you on, Mathieu. We got two cyberpunk experts here too, by the way. And then Vladi, I'm not sure. Do you play cyberpunk as well?
I've played cyberpunk, but I haven't got very far. I'm hoping this stream will, gear me up to like getting back into it, because I've basically finished this other like cyberpunk-ish game I've been playing called Cloudpunk, where you drive around in a flying car.
Do not worry. I'm brain rotted enough by cyberpunk for the entire of us and the chat combined.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I expected Angelus to be here too, because he's been playing it loads lately. And he's he was in the Twitter DM recently.
Yeah.
Is he coming on?
I don't know. He's out in the chat, so I'm not sure he's coming on or not. By the way, Mathieu, who is this friend of yours that you want to bring on? He can come on if he wants.
Okay, no, it was just to know, he has been in my Cyberpunk server for a while. He's a friend of mine. He's extremely knowledgeable about Cyberpunk, like the entire universe, Cyberpunk Red, 2077, Edgeners, and everything. But he doesn't know. I mean, he knows from name like Gun and Alita, but he never really touched those media, despite wanting to. And I just wanted your approval if he wanted to pass by and join us for some input at some moment.
Absolutely, he can. There's no problem there. We enjoy all comers on this thing. Anybody can come on the stream. If I got room, and I got room. So.
Thank you. I will give you the link, and if he comes, he comes.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, before we get into just introducing and talking to our guests a little bit, one of the things I do want to bring to everybody's attention is we got a fundraiser going on for the folks in LA, because they have suffered greatly. I mean, there's, I forget how many thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of acres have been destroyed by the fire, and it's not just like farmland. I mean, these are houses that have been burnt to the ground.
So many houses.
Yeah, it's
insane.
It's I don't know how many houses have been totally destroyed, and we're trying to help out in what little way we can. We've raised over $1,100 so far. And with us is Do Not Stand By. We'll get to the guests' introductions in a minute. But we have raised over $1,100. It's not quite, I haven't checked my bank today if it's gotten into our account yet or not, but I will check it as soon as it does. I am going to put this money into this greater good fundraiser that they have. The reason we picked that, we had a meeting on that last Monday, is because they're going to match the funds. So, we definitely want to use that one, because that means now it's going to be $2,200, which will help somebody, and we do want, the Alita Army is a very caring group, and we definitely want to help folks that have been impacted by this. I mean, it's just horrific, and horrible, So anyway, if you can, no amount is too small. Now it says $3,500 goal there. That's kind of an interim or intermediate goal. The ultimate goal that I actually put on the fundraiser was $10,000, but even if if we go past that, I can just increase the goal. So, I mean, that's not an issue right there. Every dime that goes into this goes into helping these people in LA. The Creek does not keep any of this money, nor does any of the Alita Army. Every dime of this money goes to help the victims. So the people that need it. So, and by the way, another thing it does is it also helps the pets. That's another thing we liked about it.
Oh, yeah.
So
and our Battle Angel loves her pets.
Yes, she does. Our Queen Rosa has a very cute dog and
Mindy.
Yeah, Mindy, and we're happy that nothing happened with her or Mindy, or to her or Mindy, for sure. And I don't think her house. I mean, she had to be evacuated, but her house wasn't damaged. I don't think. I haven't checked lately, but I think that part of it.
She said it was fine. Just the power went out, and because of like the trees falling down and stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
But the house is still standing.
Yeah. So if you can, no amount's too small. There's the link you see on the image there below the image on your screen. That link is also in the description below your screen. So if you click on that, it'll take you to it. You can donate. You don't have to. I mean, you can specify that your donation be anonymous if you want to. So that's okay. You're not required to give away any of your identity. And even if you can only give $1, £1, €1, whatever it is you can give, we'd be certainly appreciative of it. Appreciative. Excuse me. God, I'm getting tongue tied today. Jesus.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to drop a little bit in on my payday coming up in a few days.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, now we'll welcome the guests. And since Do Not Stand By just showed up, how's it going? Do Not Stand By up there north of Denver, I guess Lee and Do Not Stand By and I all and Alita Rave, actually, we got Denver surrounded. So, we're kind of all over the place. So how's it going? Do Not Stand By.
It's going well, Creek. Thanks for letting me introduce myself. Yeah, I'm really happy that we're helping out the folks from the LA fire. It was only 4 years ago that the Marshall fire hit Colorado.
Yep.
And, one of my friends lost his home during that fire, which was the worst fire ever in Colorado. Destroyed 1,000 buildings. So I really appreciate what the Elite Army is doing here for the LA people. It takes a long time to recover from something like this. I know from my friend's experience.
How's he doing, by the way?
He's getting along all right, but it took many years for his house to be rebuilt, and he had to stay in a rental for a long while.
Oh, well, at least there were no injuries for him or his family, and that's one good thing, I guess. So anyway, how are things up there in north of Denver? There, Do Not Stand By.
Yeah, I'm in Arvada, so
yeah,
things are going all right. We're a western suburb of Denver, and I took my daughter to go see the Denver Nuggets on New Year's Day, and we got to see them play a good game and win against the Atlanta Hawks.
Oh, cool. Nice. Yeah, those basketball games are pretty cool. You ever been to a Denver Bronco football game?
No, I haven't. Have you?
Yeah, I went to one. They played the Dallas Cowboys. This was years ago. This is when it might have been the first year they won the Super Bowl, and they destroyed the Dallas Cowboys. So that was a good thing. But anyway, but it's good to have you on. Do Not Stand By. We haven't seen you for a while, man.
Yeah, it's been a pretty crazy couple of months. I'm glad to finally be able to join you guys in 2025.
Yeah. How's your IPO doing, or how did it do?
Yeah, not so great, but we're seeing if we can still make it. We got a month to be able to raise the funds that we need to keep the company going. So I'll let you know in about a month.
Okay. I was just curious. I didn't mean to pry or anything. So,
Yeah, thanks for your curiosity. Yeah, it's been rough, but maybe things will work out after all in about a month.
All right, cool. Well, we're pulling for you. Vladi, how are things over there in the UK?
Not bad. We've got a storm hitting us, but it's not too bad here. It's much worse in Ireland and Scotland.
Are you guys getting snow?
No, it's just wind and rain here.
You guys don't get a lot of snow, do you, Vladi?
No, we never get snow. We just never get anything exciting.
Ah,
just endless rain.
Well, that stinks.
Well,
maybe it does. Oh, maybe it doesn't. I guess I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it's probably the best kind of climate to have, really, when I really think about it.
Yeah.
Never gets too hot or too cold.
Oh, that's good.
Lots of rain to keep us watered.
Yes. Matthew, how are things there in France?
Pretty uneventful, at least in my life. But when it comes to temperature, it was super cold a few days ago. And since yesterday or the day before, it started getting warmer. So my body is really confused because it doesn't know if it has to pick between cold or hot. And it's really annoying.
Ah. So, well, I know here in Denver or around Denver, we saw minus 18 degrees Celsius, which is about 2 below, I guess, Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's pretty cold.
Here it's like 13 degrees Celsius, so it's like very warm for the season.
Ah, okay. Well, that's good. Well, at least you got a little bit of good weather out of it.
Yeah, but I prefer being cold than being too warm. My body can't handle heat, but it can pretty okay handle the cold. And I don't know, like when you're cold, you're just like all fuzzy with hoodies and hot coke and stuff like this. And when you're too warm, you're just too warm, sweaty and sticky, and I hate that.
So when it's cold like that, you can just snuggle up with a good book, right? And just or play, or with your computer rather, to play games.
Yeah, on my phone and like yes, I just snuggle in my warm little cozy corner with some good food and a Netflix show, and it's a life, it's the best life.
Cool. How about you, Lee? How are things down there, way down there south of Colorado Springs?
Well, the snow's finally starting to melt off.
Yeah.
Things got really cold down here.
Yeah.
Well below freezing.
Yeah.
Other than that, doing okay.
Cool.
Oh, and my girlfriend's actually thinking about getting another job at a electronics assembly place. She used to do that for a living some years ago before she left California.
Ah, so in other words, switching professions now, huh?
Yeah, nursing or the medical field it's not doing very well here, at least not in the Springs.
Sorry to hear that. So, and she's overworked too, I bet.
Everybody there is overworked.
Jeez.
And with her health conditions, it's hitting her pretty bad too.
Well, you make sure you tell her the Alita Army said hi. So
will do.
Cool.
She appreciated the last time too.
Oh,
you guys
cool.
said hi.
Yeah. All right. Well, you don't need to hear about the creek that much. I'm doing pretty good. I'm happy as a bug in the rug, as they say down south, or happy as pig in mud. That's another thing they say. They also say something else, but I'm not going to say that here. As a pig in something else. So, okay. I just also wanted to call out the fact that Alita is still on Netflix, not in the U.S. and Canada. We don't get to see it on Netflix. I mean, we have to see it on Hulu, but it's on Hulu. At least last time I checked, it was on Hulu. I haven't checked it here in a while, but it is still on Netflix because Charlie Smith told me that I asked him to check on it. And he said, yep, it's still on Netflix. And it's got nearly 29 million views in 13 days or something like that. And if you figure, that two people are watching it, because usually it's like a family, sometimes it's one person, but sometimes it's a family, or it might be a couple or something like that. But assuming that there was probably around two people per view on average, That's nearly 60 million people that have seen it in 13 days. That is pretty freaking good right there. And that's just another thing to show, you know, that Alita is in demand. You know, I mean, people do want to see Alita Battle Angel. So, you know, we're happy about that. And as long as they keep getting good views like that, Netflix will probably keep it on, you know, indefinitely until it, you know, usually they keep it on like maybe a couple of months. A lot of times, if it's not doing real well, they'll keep it on a month, you know, and then they'll put something else on. But in this case, I think, you know, I think Alita has it been on over 2 months? I don't recall, Vladi. Has it been on?
When did it land? Was it November last year?
I think so, somewhere in that area. Yeah, it's November the 7th or something. So it's doing well. You know, I mean, it's been on almost 3 months, you know, so that's pretty good. You know, I mean, if Bob Iger was smart, he would go ahead and greenlight that sequel because people do want to see November 8th for Aussies. That's what Angelus says. Angelus, I bet you're at work. So we'll cut you some slack on that one. Yeah, it's been on since November. I couldn't remember the exact date because I know I was promoting it a couple of months, and I'm going to start promoting it again next week. So, you know, just to keep things rolling, you know. Now I don't get as many eyes on my channel certainly as Netflix gets on their platform, but you know, hey, every little bit helps, you know. So we definitely want to see Alita do real well on Netflix. And I just wish it was on in the US and Canada, but you know, oh well, it is what it is. So if you can and you have access to Netflix, please watch Alita. Let's drive those numbers up if we can. We also have Rosa's Queen Studio bust. So we have that. We're going to give that to her whenever she's ready for it. You know, she'll let us know. And once that happens, any way she wants to get it, it doesn't matter how. You know, if she just says, Gary, just ship it to me, I'll do that. You know, it doesn't matter, you know. If she says, can you come down here and let's do a little presentation, you know, when they green light the sequel, yeah, I'll do that too, you know. So, I mean, either way, doesn't matter. It's up to our queen to decide how she wants to receive this. She does want it. You know, she told me she wants it. She was very, very pleased and flattered that we got this for her. Particularly when I told her she was the queen of the Alita army, that really got her. You know, she said, "Wow, I'd wear that crown with pride." You know, and that's really cool because our queen, you know, she really loves us. You know, she's glad we're out here and she knows we're out here. So anyway. Also, we got the Alita sequel petition going on, and we only added one signature from last week. So the Creek is going to put some more money in there to get that thing going again, you know, keep driving those numbers up there. You don't have to put a whole lot. If you haven't signed it, you know, please enter your name and your email. You can specify to remain anonymous if you want. You do not have to contribute or donate any money. You know, you can just sign the petition by putting your name and email address. And if you want to, no amount's too small. You can stipulate as small amount as you can afford. And, you know, that just helps get more views on the change.org webpage for Alita. And, you know, it helps us remind, you know, Bob Iger that we want that sequel. And we're going to keep reminding him of we want that sequel. You hear that, Mr. Iger?
They made more assurances that he's definitely fine getting his replacement sorted by next year.
Well, maybe they'll, you know, well, I'm not going to say anything, but, you know, I have high hopes, you know, that we're going to see something.
To like save his legacy, confirming the Alita sequels will go a long way to doing that. Because right now everyone thinks of him as like, just creatively bankrupt, politicized, ideological maniac who's like destroyed cinema.
Yeah. Well, you know, you know you're in bad shape, you know, on this when Elon Musk and Donald Trump don't like you.
Arrest
You
Bob
know you're
Iger.
pretty bad shape when those two
Lock
people
him
don't like
up.
you.
Lock him up.
Oh gosh. Anyway, let's not get into politics. Everybody on this stream knows what my politics are, so we'll get away from that.
Yeah.
But anyway, sign the petition if you haven't, you know, and you know, it's you know, we want to keep Mr. Iger, we want to keep poking him, you know. And even though the Creek is a progressive, you know, and that's what I am, you know, I don't care what you are, you just go ahead and sign that petition and we'll love it, you know. So we invite all to sign the petition. Okay, and the Creek is approaching 240,000 subscribers. I suspect I'll probably hit 250,000, maybe late next month, perhaps, maybe mid-March, perhaps. I might hit 250,000. So we do a lot of cool stuff on this channel. Of course, really what we're really doing a lot of cool stuff on is the Alita Gaming Network, but of course we'll talk about that on the next slide. But it's not just me that wants a sequel. All of us, and you see all of those channels below there. All of us are trying to get a sequel. All of us want that sequel. As a matter of fact, next week I'm going to get away from just doing a general thing like that, and I'm going to start featuring a channel every week, I think. You know, and then discussing it and all, and probably next week we'll feature Chaos Nova's channel, maybe, you know, or it might be the Elite Army channel. Although they're pretty well established, but you know, we're going to start doing that every week, you know, so people get familiar with the other Elite Army channels. And Angelus is pissed that he can't join because he's at work. He does love Cyberpunk. So there you go, Mattu. You got a fellow Cyberpunk lover there. So, you know.
Yeah, I'm sad too. I expected him to be here. Yeah,
well, that's okay. So anyway, we do certainly live streams like you see here. And, you know, we do videos. We do 3 videos a week, you know, and those videos can be art. You know, they can be movie clips, they can be music videos. You know, I do a lot of try to do a Rosa Salazar video about once every 2 to 3 weeks. I try to do a Rosa Salazar video, you know, maybe once a month minimum. And you know, just to keep our, you know, Queen's name out there, you know, although not that she needs any help from me on that one, but I do like to do a video of her, you know, and usually there's stills, you know, but, you know, we're going to start taking clips of movies that she's in and start, you know, showing like 2 or 3 different movies she's been in and stuff like that and identify them, you know, so maybe that'll help her some. I'm not sure, but, you know, we're going to start doing that as well. And we got the Alita Gaming Network, and it's a pretty small group right now. It's like, what, 39 or 40 people, something like that. We're not really pushing this too hard because folks love it being small like this because it's real intimate, you know, and you know, it's kind of when it's small like that, it's fun, you know, and stuff like this. Now, 2 weeks in a row, we tried to do a watch party, and yeah, well, that's all right. Well, this past week, the Creek got busy and didn't promote, you know, we want to play the OVA on there because Mandatory Carry wants to see it, you know, because he's never seen it, I think. But we're going to do that on Monday, and I promise this time I am going to do a little bit better job of promoting it, you know, so folks will know that it's coming on. And you know, we have Lottie when he knows we have it. He knows we have a watch party. And Smendrick and
we had a meeting the same day a few hours before.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that's right. And then we have Panini Freak and Random Bomb. In other words, our AR-11 and AR-12 girls, you know, they join a lot of times. So and we've had Lord Crit on and other folks, you know, we just watch movies. I think the last movie we watched was Ghost in the Shell, I think the anime. You know, so, and it was real good. So one of the two, I think there's been 2 movies, isn't there, or something like that? And then there's a series, I think. So But I think we watched the first movie, I think is what we watched. So, okay, guys, I guess that's all I can think of here. Oh, I just want to say, you see the link there below the Chibi Alita. Basically, you click on that, you'll get the invite. You can join. You got to have a Discord username to get on there. It does not have to be the name that gets presented to the folks on the channel or on the server. It doesn't have to be your email address. It can be a name you make up. You know, like for instance, my name is not Creek Indian Alita Army, obviously. You know, and Vladi's name is not Vladi, it's something else, you know, and Smendrick's name is not Smendrick, you know, that kind of thing, you know. You can use any name you want, and you kind of keep some anonymity, or you know, watch your privacy and stuff like that. And it's all good. The Alita Army is very respectful. You know, Matu and I kind of keep an eye on this, but we don't have to do anything weird like kick people off or anything like that, because we haven't had that trouble, you know. So because the Elite Army is pretty cool. So what is this, Angelus? Angelus is trying to trigger you, Vladi. Look at this.
Yeah,
yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Okay. All right. So I guess unless you guys got anything else to say, I guess we can go right on to the main topic.
Go for it.
Cool. All right. Well, I think now I don't know a whole lot about Cyberpunk 2077.
I do.
I know you do, Matu.
Thank God we've got Matthew here.
Yeah, you and Lee, and if Angelus was here, he would know. And if your friend comes on, he'll know, of course.
My friend is coming on. I told him to get in backstage, so he may come very soon.
Oh, there he is. There he is. There he is. There he is.
Hi, Gabo.
Hello.
Howdy.
Hello.
Howdy, Gabu.
How y'all doing?
I'm doing well. I'm Creek Indian. I run the stream. So anyway, we're all about Alita. But what we want to do here is we want to kind of take a look at Alita Battle Angel. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie or the anime at all, or read any of the manga. But you do know. Matu tells me that you really know a lot about Cyberpunk 2077 and Edge Runners and all the other, you know, so we're glad to have you on board. And you're in France as well?
No, actually, I am in Brazil.
Ah, whoa. I guess Matu gets around then, doesn't she?
Yeah.
I mean, I live online and I meet with everybody with the same interest as I do. No regard where they come from.
Okay, cool. Welcome, Chaos Nova from Mentor, Ohio.
Hi. I was going to send some messages, but I kind of lost my Twitter account. Well, at least my message history. So if there's a way to contact you, it was a Facebook message anyways.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think I saw it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, if you got anything you want to share in the private chat, you know, put it in there and I'll put it in the public chat and people can go check it out.
It was mostly a presentation thing, so you could use it on the live stream later.
Yeah. By the way, Chaos, I think next week I'm going to start featuring other Alita Army channels, you know, as opposed to just doing, I think you're familiar with this, where I kind of do this number right here, you know, where I say, hey, you know, all these people down below here, you know, we're all in this together. We want the Alita sequel, but I think I'm getting away from that. I'm going to start featuring a channel every week. So I think I might start with you next week. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just let me know. I'll make sure to be on time. Okay.
All right. Sounds good. I will. I'll shoot you. If I don't get you an X, I'll get you, or Twitter. I'll get you on Facebook. Okay, so anyway, what we want to talk about is how these two worlds or universes kind of match up. You know, I mean, how are they alike? We'll even talk about some differences, and in some of the areas I want to talk about, we've got some certainly cyberpunk subject matter experts here, and certainly we got Alita Army
original here. and last order.
Yeah. The original, that's right.
I mean, it's mainly about it's more about martial arts, and it's more about the mystery story of Alita and the other characters until that point.
Yes. And even Mars Chronicles, you know, Matu doesn't like Mars Chronicles that much, but
I mean, I personally do not like Mars Chronicle on like my extremely personal view, but I know that objectively it is good. Just not my thing.
All right. So anyway, here's what we want to talk about, and this is going to be pretty wide open. And I've got a couple of slides coming up after this, or 3 slides, where it kind of help us frame the discussion a little bit. But we want to talk about the characters in both, and then certainly the dystopian setting in both. You know, both of them are kind of you know, post. I wouldn't say apocalyptic, because apocalypse means everything's killed, you know, but dystopian certainly. And then the various storylines with, of course, with Alita, you know, there's the manga, the OVA, and Mars Chronicles. You know, both with the manga, we got the original manga and the Last Order. With Cyberpunk being a game, and I think is there not a movie on this too, Gabu or Matu? Is there?
There is a streaming series called Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Yeah,
which is based on the game.
Okay. Well, anyway, but in the game, I guess you play as a character named V, don't you? Or you can play as any character, I guess. But
no, you play as V, but V is basically, if I could say so, Gabo, correct me if I'm wrong, kind of the player self-insert.
Things are getting the attention of being the best video game to streaming, but Cyberpunk Edge Runners is not bad at all.
Yeah,
Cyberpunk Edge Runner is one of the best anime that has been made ever.
Yeah, Matu's avatar is actually
look, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, like Edge Runners.
Whoa. Okay, so anyway, we're going to talk about these 3 things right here. What, you're going to say something, Matu?
Yeah, you were talking about V. The player does play V, but V is kind of the player self-insert, as in both, like, you can choose between both male and female, and even if they have canon appearances for, you know, promotional materials and like base V, if we could call them that way, you can customize them. And V as a character is what the player make of them, their competences, their decisions, their cybernetic implants, their relationship. It's all up to the player.
Like comparing V to Cyberpunk, is the game, at least, is from CDPR, CD Projekt Red, the same company that made the Witcher games.
Okay,
and Geralt, which is the protagonist of Witcher, he also is a canon character where the player can kind of self-insert and like choose how he behaves, but there is a canon limit.
Like Geralt has a backstory in the Witcher novels. I'm not sure where the games enter. I haven't really read them. Have you? Like read the novels?
No. I'm not a massive Witcher fan. I know about it, but I don't really follow the series at all.
Right. I know that when they did like the Netflix thing, multiple people, including both the actor and multiple people who were involved in the running, said this was going off from what the novels did.
Well, I know the series, The Witcher, that was on Netflix, I think it was, that it didn't go into Geralt's, didn't go into his backstory at all. It just first episode, and there it was.
Novels, and I haven't really followed the novels. I played through the first game called The Witcher, but it's basically you need to read the novels to see what his origin was, which I didn't do yet.
Yeah, and like just like how there is like a canon Geralt from the novels and other material, and there's like a player Geralt from the games themselves. V follow kind of the same logic, you know. V is the player can like make choices for V and decide how he is or they are, and but there is like a limit to what V is or is not in the world of Cyberpunk itself in general. So it's a half and half, you know, character.
Well, it pleases me that the main character in Cyberpunk is named V, because that's people call me V for my last name, so that pleases
Right.
me most.
But it's
That
one of the things
damn.
I like about Cyberpunk Edge Runners is that it's not really a canon character. It's just showing that Cyberpunk is a huge world, and there are these other hackers the show goes into, and that's their story.
Now you can
within
put
the Cyberpunk universe.
Yeah, basically Cyberpunk Edge Runner happens in the world of Cyberpunk. It actually happens a bit more than 1 year before Cyberpunk 2077, and in Cyberpunk 2077.
Everyone all right?
What?
What was that? Chaos?
Everyone all right? I heard a break in audio. I was wondering if I lost you.
Yeah. Oh no,
I think we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
In Cyberpunk
Yeah, I was just saying the good
2077
part about Cyberpunk Edge Runners, the streaming series, is that it just goes into some other hackers other than what you play as in the game. So it makes the world seem a little bigger.
And also in the video game Cyberpunk 2077, there are several instances when you will find like kind of Easter eggs about Edge Runners. For example, you can get back David's jacket. You have Falco, a character of the anime, that contacts you when you start inquiring about David, who is the protagonist of Edge Runners. And in the columbarium, you will find the Edge Runners' graves too.
By the way, Mattu, Angelus is trying to. I guess he's wanting you to see that he knows who Pillar is. Pilar.
Yeah, but as I said, my heart stay closed, and I won't accept to be triggered.
Okay. Okay.
And yep, Angelus is right. You can have Rebecca's shotgun in the game, and David Sandevistan. Like it's amazing, and this is Cyberpunk is what I live for.
All right. Wow,
just out of curiosity, considering how differently Sandevistan works in the show compared to the game, does David Sandevistan specifically also work like it did in the show, or is it the same as the other Sandevistan in the game?
David Sandevistan is a Militech Apogee Sandevistan who lasts slightly longer than all the other Sandevistan, and also slow down the time by much more. Like it slows the time by 85%, whereas the other Sandevistan, depending on the level, slow down the time by like way less percentages. And it is amazing. I've been doing my current run with Sandevistan instead of Cyberdeck, and oh my god, this is such an amazing tool.
Yep. Okay, so it does work a little bit differently, like a higher grade sort of prototype or something.
Yeah, there's a slight disconnect between because Cyberpunk is originally a tabletop game, right, from the 80s.
Yeah, I played that for years.
Yeah, and the game itself, the tabletop game, is a little bit more like down to earth in the sense, not that it's any less fantastical and high tech than the game and the anime, but the anime and the game both have a much more strong like take on, like it's much more focused on the power fantasy itself. So because Cyberpunk by definition is not based on super powered characters. Usually there are like people that are important and are powerful in universe, but they aren't what drives the story and the themes forward. It's all about the players and the little stories that are told within this expansive universe. And usually those stories are of like only slightly above average humans. They're not like turbo killing machines usually. And that's the biggest difference between the game / anime and the source material, so to speak.
Yeah, I guess one of the differences between Cyberpunk and Alita, like Alita, the titular character there is she's we've had this discussion on previous streams. She's more like a metahuman, like you would think of a superhero, although she's not a superhero, but she has her abilities are way beyond human beings, even in her berserker body. But in her she has another body called the Imaginos body, that is just way, way beyond anything that humans can do. Whereas what I'm hearing from you, Gabbo, is that some of these folks that are maybe cybernetically enhanced are just a little bit better than humans. Is that right?
I mean, yeah, they in Cyberpunk you can be like very superhuman, yes, but it is not a particularly special thing. It's not like one person. It's not like David's Sandevistan is like David's specifically. It's not related to David. He's just a kid who got really lucky to come in contact with some hardware that really wasn't meant for him. So like it's a lot more materialistic in how it works. You know, it's not about who's using the gear, it's about the gear itself, you know, so to speak. So it is a lot at the same time that it is restrictive, as in like everyone's human, everyone starts on the same page, so to speak. But at the same time, it's a lot more liberating because you are not defined by, in a meta sense, you're not defined by your position as a main character or not. You're defined by the chances that come to you, you know, to the opportunities that you come in contact with.
So
and you
you're essentially, as I'm getting it, a bounty hunter doing your things for the bounty while things go on in the background. Because that's another thing of a similar game called Shadowrun.
Yes. Yeah, Shadowrun and Cyberpunk were both games that were developed in the 80s, kind of like basically together by different people. It was the whole zeitgeist of the time, so like a lot of people were coming to the same similar conclusions. It's like Cyberpunk as a genre and theme in general was like really, really, really on vogue in the 80s. So a lot of people were pulling from the same sources, you know, the books, Philip K. Dick's books, Neuromancer, Snow Crash, all these source materials kind of fed into the same universe of like a dystopia where quote unquote normal people chromed up and went to like change their lives in a world that really didn't allow them any other way forward, you know. Shadowrun leans more into like magic and supernatural stuff because it's basically Cyberpunk meets D&D, so to speak.
Wow.
But
Wow.
Wow.
You got elves.
yeah, there's like elves, orcs, magics, spirits, dragons, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think
But
a lot
it's
of the
also-
dragons end up being CEOs of mega corporations or something like that.
yeah.
Also
They-
has the
they-
computer
they
gaming
make-
element
I mean-
yeah,
too.
yeah.
I mean,
That's why
is the game
Shadowrun
technically?
that's where the name Shadowrun comes in, because hackers are known as Shadowrunners.
yeah.
And that explains why in the game Gary keeps saying that the Arasaka are vampires. Everything falls together finally.
It's it is a little bit of a reference there to the like, because Cyberpunk is a fully quote unquote realistic world, right? It's more
I
alternate
wouldn't necessarily
history.
say that.
Yeah,
I would
no.
say that within
Re-
Battle Angel Alita, Chaos is a cyberpunk character specifically.
Yeah, I wouldn't like. I know very little about Alita, so I don't know how any of this connects to. But I do have
Well,
interest.
okay,
this
in the
series.
world of Battle Angel Alita, like people have power over others by computers. That would include Destiny Nova, the main villain of the whole series.
Yeah.
I mean, he has power technically other than computers, but it is always powers related to science one way or another.
Now in Cyberpunk, is this where they use that term "total conversion cyborg"? Is that what
Yes.
they use? Yeah.
I had
that
a
is
handbook for the
yeah.
tabletop game that included a whole bunch
The
of
thing
total
with
conversion
Cyberpunk
bodies.
is that you have another world of the internet or cyberspace in it. It plays a
that-
significant role.
I
Like
mean,
Ghost in the Shell, that's a cyberpunk anime.
Yeah.
it is. I wouldn't say it's not another world. It's a little bit of a misnomer or a misinterpretation. It used to be like, because the OG Cyberpunk was from the 80s and early 90s, so they had this whole view of the cyber world, you know, this whole old school, what the future will be for the internet and this whole thing. But it was somewhat dropped to more favor a more updated take on the whole concept of the net and whatever. It is not anymore another world the way that Shadowrun's net and Spirit World
It's
are
Shadowrun.
like
It's called the
another
Matrix.
world. Yeah, exactly. Those are like actual other worlds, right? While the net in Cyberpunk is mostly just a it is just the net. It's just that you use it in a let's call it full dive, a bit of a that whole thing of like you like go into full virtual reality or something like that. But it's still like not another world realistically. You can't like transfer your body into the net. Maybe your mind, but not your body. You know?
Well, tell me about this guy, Johnny Silverhand. I heard he's like a disembodied intelligence that's in the net. Is that right? He's also isn't he in B's mind somehow, or what's that?
Johnny is like
Keanu Reeves, right?
Keanu Reeves, yes. He's played by Keanu Reeves in the recent game. Johnny is an old school character in the sense that he was from the OG games way back in the day. He was.
Yeah, I remember him from way back.
Yeah, he's like one of the closest things you could get to a main character, quote unquote, but not really, right? Because it's always been a expansive world, so like nobody's really a main character in the previous stories, but he's the closest you can get to one. In the current state of the world in Cyberpunk, he is a what we call a construct, which is basically his mind was copied into it is a chip, but like it's basically his mind was digitized and saved up, and then you can like put that mind in like chips, or you can use them to make contact with them through like certain machines, and it's a lot of deep lore in there. But right now he is indeed a chip inside V's head.
Yeah,
for better or worse. That might be killing him, but you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was an accident too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was an accident basically.
It was basically a gig that went very wrong.
Yeah, it went wrong. He's realistically, he's also just a proof of concept for that technology. It just happened to be Johnny Silverhand that was on that tech, but that tech in general has like much farther implications than Johnny or anything like that.
Yeah, but Johnny Silverhand, he's sentient, isn't he?
He is. These engrams, they are sentient.
Wow.
At first they weren't, but nowadays they are, like as the tech progresses. Because again, this tech in universe is from like 2020, and now it's 2077. So it's been 50 years of tech development. So like right now you can have a fully digitized mind that is like as sentient as a non-digitized mind, you know?
Wow. That's sort of similar to the Alita verse, and that
the brain chips is what I was just thinking.
Brain chips,
Except when it comes to similarities, the brain chips are mandatory for people from Zalem at their when they reach adult age. Biochips like Construct and everything in Cyberpunk are not mandatory, but it is a technology that is studied in order to give a so-called immortality to people, like especially very filthy rich corporal people.
Yeah, it's like yet another tool for the hyper powerful to stay forever in power. You know, like the one thing that we weren't able to fully master, even those at the top, the last thing holding them back from absolute eternal power was mortality. Because like you can extend your life in Cyberpunk, but it becomes like you can extend the life of your body, but your mind will inevitably start to decline and fade. And you know, you can't stop things like dementia and old age degradation. You can stop your body from aging, but not your mind. However, through the relic, since your mind is fully digitized, you just have a permanent backup of yourself, and you could like
Reboot.
technically, yeah, basically,
Yeah, as long as the
is-
hardware lasts, the brain will stay intact, or the mind will
even-
stay intact.
Even if you lose the hardware, you can just get that backup, put into another body, and just keep going. They conquered the last thing, keeping rich people from being the gods they think they are, which is
Exactly.
sad, but
Yeah.
it is how things are.
And
Well,
this is-
what strikes
Sorry.
me though is that I know having an IT background like I have, you know, there's such a thing as called IT upgrades, you know,
Yeah,
and keeping current with it. Like for instance, if you took a program that was written for an old IBM 1401, that's not going to run on anything today. So if you're, does that kind of thing play out in Cyberpunk as well? In other words, somebody whose sentience was established on, say, one form of technology, and after many years, a newer form that's not compatible with the previous form, would that maybe render the person, say a person like Johnny Silverhand, not being able to be self-aware anymore, or not be alive, I guess is
that is canonically, that's not a thing that is explored at all. It is an interesting thing, since like being that the game itself is first and foremost an RPG, so like they the developers of the RPG, not the video game, Art Alsorian, which are the writers for the whole universe. They do open up to, they do have a stance of like, hey, it's your story, you can like, we have a canon, but like you don't have to stick to canon, so you can like do whatever you want and explore. This is a playground for you to explore themes and concepts and this and whatnot. In universe, there's nothing of the sort. Like technology, especially for the rich and powerful, technology is maintained and upgraded all the time. It is not a problem. Like if we have a new factory format, we can just like for example, I make an engram of myself. I put myself into a new body, and let's say that a new format for engrams come out. I can just make a new one. I make another, a more updated one, and I keep updating and going forward at like breakneck pace, because if I have the money for any of that, of course, because Cyberpunk is indeed a very, very late stage capitalist world where like money really is everything you are. It does not matter as long as you have the money. That's why so many people will do whatever it takes for that money, you know, because it literally is all that matters.
Kind of like today.
Kind of like today.
I mean, it's just a human truth, a timeless truth. It's always going to be the rich and the poor, and the rich are going to get the technology that's going to make them live forever. In Alita, they've got like Methuselization, where they have nanobots that can make their bodies live for like forever, right?
Or in
indefinite
periods of time, at least. Yeah.
Because,
go ahead, Gabbo. Go ahead.
Because like it is interesting that even in Cyberpunk there is the same, not the same technology exactly, but like there are like life extending technologies, but there wasn't till the game itself. There wasn't immortality tech. There was life extending, but not immortality. This is directly referenced in games, in the sense that like Johnny Silverhand is from the 20s and his engram was created back in the 20s. But when he wakes up,
the 2020s, you mean?
Yeah, like
not the 1920s, the 2020s.
No, the 2020s. The world of Cyberpunk.
If I remember correctly, it's 2023.
The world of Cyberpunk is a alternate history from ours, and it basically diverges from our world around 1994. That's when it diverges mainly. Like the big diversions are at that year. But yeah, he's from the 2020s, and he when he wakes up in the 70s, he is still like a young man, so to speak. He's like 30 something, whatever. He's like around that age. But you have characters that are shown in the game that are actually like still alive and aging from the 2020s, and they look like perfectly fine because you know, all the technology allowing them to retain their looks, their beauty and whatnot. But it also comes Carrie, Eurodyne, Rogue,
yeah. I was gonna say Carrie, Rogue. They're from the 2020s because they were friends or lovers with Joni. And they have aged in 2077, but they do not look their age. And for example, Saburo Arasaka, who is like the big head of the Arasaka Corporation, is a man who, I mean, he is still alive, but not after. But it's another story. He's a man who knew World War I and II, if I remember correctly, and he's still alive in 2077.
He's not quite he's not quite as old as the Creek, though, is he, Matthew?
The man is from Saburo is actually from he fought in World War II. So he is old, you know, like in 77, I think he's like 130 something around that. And he looks 80-ish. Rogue and Carrie, which are both characters from 2020, they were like 20 something year olds in 2020. So like there would be like 70, 80 years old each, right? And both of them look like 40 at best, you know, because of all the tech they can reach for, you know. And even those characters are shown to be like, they kept their body somewhat, but their minds are not like, they are feeling the they're not dementia ridden or anything, but they are feeling the weight of age as they, you know,
they're having more and more senior moments.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, just for the record, the Creek was not alive during World War II. So, oh gosh, yeah, it's kind of similar, I guess, in some ways to Alita in that, well, of course, Alita has, during the Last Order manga, they have the brain chip. Well, not even then, even for a good bit of the, or for at least part of the original manga, they had brain chips, didn't they? If I recall correctly. So, people in Zalem had brain chips. But that Methuselization with nano machines keeping
that was the orbital communities,
yeah, that's right. So and Nova, you know, took advantage of the nano machines to keep himself alive because he's like several hundred years old, I think, isn't he?
The only way to enjoy immortality is to watch others die.
Yes.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, in Last Order, Trinidad at some point says he does not understand Pingu because he said, like, you picked this worthless fight instead of immortality and stuff like this before, because in Last Order and in Gun, you can basically, when it comes to flesh and bones, you can basically reprint them as much as you want. And for when you don't want a flesh body, you, unlike Cyberpunk, you can be entirely cybernetic.
Yeah, that's kind of similar to the total replacement cyborg in Alita, isn't it? So
except even your brain's replaced, which I think is what the Jovian colonies did. They completely replaced all of their organic parts with mechanical,
including their brains.
I think so. I'm not sure.
Okay.
So like it is a full, it's a robot basically, right? It's like a full on nothing.
Yeah, robot anymore. with a digitized human consciousness.
Yeah, I would rather say it's how they call it in the manga. When robot, cyborgs, and android are very defined together. Android are basically humans, but born directly as machines. Cyborgs can be 100% cyborgs, but those are people that at least used to be humans. And robots are like not as evolved as androids and clearly not as cyborgs. Like Zex is an android because he was born a clone from Alita and developed his own personality, and he's his own person, but he was never born a human. So he's called an android.
Yeah.
And Alita, Gali, despite being 100% a machine. She's considered a full cyborg because she used to have at least a brain and she used to be human before.
Okay.
Angelus, don't give away my secrets. Oh, geez. Well, I don't think we don't have a all-inclusive list of all the characters in either one of these universes, really, because
There
another.
are so many of them.
Oh gosh, yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know what I don't have Pilar up there in for Cyberpunk, do
Yeah, but like when it comes to Cyberpunk, you have the character of 2077, the
Yeah.
Phantom Liberty DLC, the Edge Runner, and if you do not count books, comics, and everything.
Yeah, they're like I mean, both of these, as far as I know, they're like what 30-year-old franchises, 40-year-old franchises.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
of
Yep.
course we're gonna have like a million characters.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the Cyberpunk tabletop game actually was developed not
The
like
f- yeah,
right
the
alongside the Alita universe, but in the same time frame. So they're both
Yeah.
very old.
Cyberpunk is from the 80s, and if I remember
Mhm.
correctly, the Alita manga is like the first manga was published in the 90s.
1990, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, something
Like-
like this.
Yeah.
The OG book, the first edition of Cyberpunk, which was Cyberpunk 2013. Actually, that's
I
when
vaguely remember
you know
that, yeah.
the far off future year of 2013.
Holy shit, we got that in
Yeah.
the rearview mirror, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. But to
Yeah.
them, they, like we,
Yeah.
they were still farther because like it's 2080, it's 1982, 83.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
later 86. I think is
Yeah.
the second half of the 80s.
Yeah.
That was like a test run, so to speak. Like
Yeah.
it included a lot of the concepts that were like very famous in the cyberpunk genre as it was, being born back in the 80s. A lot of the concepts were established there, but the real like when the lore got solidified for good was Cyberpunk 2020, which is also the far off year of 2020.
I have that book.
Yeah.
It was released in 1992, if I'm not mistaken, and both things all pulled from the same zeitgeist in the 80s of like the futurism, transhumanism, the presence of technology in people's lives, what the rich and powerful do with technology versus what the poor and broken would do with if they got access to technology, and all that sort of dystopian, worrying signs that they saw in the 80s that all came to pass in the 2020s, more or less.
Yes. Yes.
Unfortunately, we got basically everything but the cool part of like the cybernetics and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yes.
We got all the dystopian part, but I can't have cool ass mantis blades on my arms.
Yeah.
Well,
actually.
well, Matu, who is
Eventually,
that? Who
hopefully.
is that girlfriend of Pilar's? What's her name? What?
That's my original character. Her name
Yeah.
is Mel, and she's a character I'm currently playing in our tabletop campaign, where Gabo is our game master with some of our
nice.
friends.
Nice.
Yes. I am indeed a nerd.
You don't ever play Dungeons and Dragons, do you, Gabu?
I have played Dungeons and Dragons before. It is not my favorite, but I do like. Again, it's all about who's because like tabletops are a social activity, so it doesn't matter what you're playing, what system or what as long as you jive with the people at your table, it all works out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've got the original version, the original tabletop game of Dungeons and Dragons, version 1.0.
Oh damn!
Yeah.
Oh, damn! But
Yeah.
is it Dungeons and Dragons, or is it that old Dungeons and Dragons the tabletop games for pen and paper, playable with miniatures and whatever.
Pen and paper, my friend.
Oh my god, you have that?
Yes, I do.
Holy shit, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, I had an old girlfriend got it for me for Christmas one year.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, what are some of the characters in Cyberpunk 2077 that are not on that list there? Well, okay, wait a minute. Before we go there, I want to talk about Atom Smasher a little bit.
Yes.
He is a lot like
The big man.
Well, he's a lot like a character in Alita named Gruishka. They're very similar, I think. So tell me about him.
We made that parallel last week, and this is where that idea from today's live stream came off. Even in terms of design, even like in terms of silhouette, Smasher and Gruishka are extremely similar. And I will leave Gabo the honor of explain to us in detail and correctly, because maybe I'm mistaken, who Atom Smasher is.
Well, I would say that there's a few characters in Cyberpunk that are like faces, right? Which is the characters that you see that the ones that get recognized even by outsiders, right? And Johnny Silverhand being one.
Yep.
From the
guy that looks like Idris Elba as well, right?
Yeah, Reed is also
Solomon Reed.
Solomon Reed is a recent character like that too. And Smasher. And Smasher is I'm not gonna go into the whole story of the character or anything because he is from 2020, so like he's also an old school character.
Yeah.
But he is conceptually, he is the panic button. Like as a GM for the game, there's always like a feeling because the players can get pretty powerful, right? But you gotta keep reminding them that they are playing a world that does not like them at all. Like they are a problem in the world, and the corporations and the people in power will try to bring them down. And they always, it's the like, you know, if you play old school RPGs, you probably know the famous, you know, rocks fall from the ceiling, everybody's dead. You know that joke.
Yep.
Atom Smasher is the Cyberpunk version of that. Like you guys are doing so well. Atom Smasher breaks through a wall. He comes into the room
and
everyone's
kills you.
fucking dead.
In Edge Runners, Atom Smasher is described like a cybernetic boogeyman because of how like terrifying and overly ridiculously overpowered he is.
He is like conceptually, he's also the definition of what happens when a person goes too far. He is the titular cyber psycho, so to speak, while also being the titular corporation lapdog. So he is the worst case scenario for a bunch of different concepts in the universe. You know?
Yeah, there was a story about him in the book that contained all the full conversion bodies in the tabletop game.
Yeah.
And he really enjoys what he does.
Yeah.
There were things like him talking about painting the interior of office buildings red after going through with a minigun.
Yeah.
Things like also using a 2000, I think it was a 2000 cc. I might be getting the number wrong. It was a racing bike that uses an improvised melee weapon. Just all the stuff he could do as a full conversion Borg. And he really enjoyed it.
Yeah, the whole point of everyone's like, oh, cyberpsychosis this, cyberpsychosis that. Why isn't Atom Smasher lost to cyberpsychosis? My guy, he's taking joy in like ripping people apart. Of course but yeah, Atom Smasher is a bit of like mechanically he's a panic button, but he's also a good he's a stat check, so to speak. He's the bar that defines what's strong and what's not strong, right?
Oh yeah.
He's like Tiamat or something like that.
Yeah.
In D&D.
Well, that is a little different than Gruishka because Gruishka is kind of like that before Alita shows up. Now, I think one of the things about Alita is she goes through many different bodies. You know, from a very a weaker body for Cyborg to a tremendously godlike OP body that she has in the end of the Last Order. But you know, Alita absolutely destroys Gruishka in the end. And you know, it just the fight really doesn't last 10 seconds. You know, I mean, she just takes him out, you know. And of course the character in the manga's name is Makaku. You know, that's the They didn't like the name, I guess, for the movie, you know. But is that a fair appraisal, Matu or Gabo, that Atom Smasher seems to be the pinnacle?
Well, yes, he is the boogeyman. He is the big bad, so to speak.
Yeah.
Not in a world affecting way, but he is the strongest monster in the book, so to speak. But as I said, like, a big difference between the games and the tabletops is the fact that the game, being a video game, is a lot more interested in giving you the power fantasy of V, right?
Okay.
V is a bit of a weird character to the universe because he feels like, from what you're telling me about Alita, I see a lot of Alita in V, where she, like, she's like a cut above everything else.
Yeah.
And V is also portrayed as that cut above everything else, you know,
well,
which
V
I
also
understand.
I was going to say, V also had that unusual event where they were killed by the fixer, but the relic brought them back in a very different way.
V is about as special as someone can get in Cyberpunk. Like, no other character in previous canon gets to the level, quote unquote, of V. Like, there's one exception, but that's something else. But yeah, but V.
I've also seen online V being described as some basically cyber demigods.
Yeah,
And
like, the term I like to use is Turbo Chrome Hyper Jesus.
Yeah, yeah, and we could say the same about Alita, because in Last Order, she basically herself can bring her own body back to materialize back, like in the mortal realm. She basically gets that power later on in the manga. She basically becomes kind of godlike too.
Yeah, V does achieve that sort of thing where all the disempowerment that the setting itself is, you know, causes to the people in that same, like, in the universe, you know, it is about being disenfranchised and then wrestling control back for yourself from a world that really doesn't want you there. And V is like they are the power fantasy. So when V actually gets there and, like, actually destroys, like, actually defeats Atom Smasher in the game, because he is defeatable in the game, while it kind of weakens the impact of Smasher, so as a person that has talked to many people that came from the games and anime, they don't really get how powerful Smasher is supposed to be in canon. Like, the fact that V kills Smasher in canon alone is, like, world changing in canon, you know. And that power fantasy is, in my opinion, nothing wrong with it, but it is a bit counterintuitive to what the setting itself is meant to, well, not meant, but, like, what it tries to present, right? It is a little. I didn't play Cyberpunk, the tabletop. I only GM'd it, but I can see, like, multiple people that I know that come from the game and the anime and come into the tabletop, and they create their characters, and then they start, like, they want to be V. Everyone wants to be V, but then they are hit with, like, a reality punch.
Yeah, you ain't gonna be V in the tabletop.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody's gonna be V in the tabletop, and I think that's kind of jarring to some players.
I mean, in the tabletop, in our current campaign, all I want is have my purple Mizutani Shion and survive, basically.
Yeah,
that's my realistic goals in our campaign.
Sorry, Creek, is everything okay? You keep dropping in and out. You're muted right now.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. We're carrying on fine. Keep going.
Should we wait a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, maybe give him a minute.
Yeah,
he's having some trouble.
I got it.
Talk about...
I got it.
There he goes. He's back.
Hey there.
Is it your internet again, Creaky?
Yeah, it's my internet.
What's going on with that, man? You got to give him a ring or something.
I don't know, man. That thing drops off, and I go over to the other computer, and it's not working either, and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess we'll have to get in touch with Xfinity, who's my ISP, I guess. So anyway, keep going.
Yeah, no, that's about it. What I had to say about Smasher. He is a stat check. He is a reality check to almost everyone. And while my personal opinion is that killing him in game kinda like weakens the mythology around the character and the universe in general. Yeah. I do understand the point because it's a video game. It's supposed to be a power fantasy, of course. Like, like this is all a given. Yeah,
he's supposed to be, I guess, like the big bad that you're supposed to overcome at the end of the story.
And the issue that comes in the game at this moment, if you're like me and do every side quest, every side mission, every crime, every police, every little thing you have to do, you come to the fight against Smasher with like level 5, like above level 4 iconic chromes, the best guns, maximum armor and health, and even like 2 hearts that allows you to come back to life immediately after dying and stuff like this. And the fight against Smasher just, is very anticlimactic because you basically gets to beat him extremely easily at this point.
Yeah, being that it's a video game, you can like turbo power farm and like build yourself to be literally a god and like literally just come in and wipe the floor with Smasher, which again in canon it is very disheartening. So like because I would consider myself more of a fan of the canon of the tabletop more than of the games themselves, and it is a little disheartening to see how the game themselves the game itself kind of breaks the vibes of canon like that. But I understand. I see the reason why they would do something like that, and like I would say that it is a return, not a return to form, but it is a parallel closer to cyberpunk, to the cyberpunk genre of other things like Alita or like the Matrix with Neo being the chosen one. The idea where in a world where everyone's fucked, there's this one person that can still
rise above the whole thing.
Yeah, like
or rise to heights nobody else can.
Yeah, that is not that is a little bit of counterintuitive to the established ethos of the whole thing in the book and whatnot. But it is not unprecedented in the genre, as we can see with Alita, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So Adam Smasher in the old vernacular for prior games, he's kind of like a boss, isn't he?
No, he is the boss.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I would actually argue that the corporations are the boss. He's the sub boss.
Oh no. If we go by D&D conventions, he is the boss. The corporations are those deities that the people are, you're not fighting the actual gods in D&D. You can fight avatars of them, sure, which is what Smasher basically is. But the corporations are like, they're not even, they're not a boss because you can't fight them. You cannot fight the corporations. You will you can bring down a tower or two. You can nuke a city, but it doesn't matter.
That's what I was going to say. Johnny Silverhand, for example, was qualified as a terrorist. He wanted to fight against Arasaka. Therefore, he blew up the Arasaka Tower in Night City. And what happened after that? Well, they built another tower. And then you, when you play Cyberpunk, you can choose different paths at the end. And if you take the path of Johnny Silverhand, you will destroy Smasher and blow against the Arasaka Tower. And what impact does it have? well, they're going to talk about it for a while, but in itself, it did nothing to the corporation because you can't fight them.
Yep. Johnny in 2020, Johnny and a group of people. It's a whole story. Back then, it's called Never. For everyone that might know, Never Fade Away, the song. Never Fade Away was a campaign from back in 2020, and it is the whole thing where Johnny and a group of people invade Arasaka Towers, and there are two of them. Which, you know, if it was made any later in our world timeline might have been changed, but back then he does nuke, not a simple bomb, he nukes both of the towers. Like there's a however many miles wide hole in the middle of Night City for like years after that event. He brings down Arasaka, like, literally, and it still changes nothing, because this is one headquarters of a global corporation. What does it change? It didn't do anything. Arasaka pulled out of Night City for a while, sure, but the corporation is as strong as it has ever been. Like, the corporations in this universe are literally too big to fail. You know, like, yeah, we have too big to fail in our world. There, it's like 20 times more of a thing than in our world. So the corporations aren't bosses, aren't big bosses, final bosses, because they can't even be fought in the first place. So
sounds like supreme resilience to me.
Yeah.
Wow. So that Hanako Arasaka, well, he's the CEO or that person.
No,
she's it's yet another display of, like, it doesn't matter, because she kind of somewhat is a regent of the corporation. You know, after the emperor falls, she becomes regent, so to speak.
Okay.
So it is just that, like, you can kill the absolute head of the corporation and someone else just takes its place. It is literally a unwinnable fight, which a lot of people do. If you visit subreddits about Cyberpunk in general, there are people that really don't vibe with that idea. The idea that the world is fucked and unfuckable at this point. Like, there is nothing you can do to change the world at large. A lot of people believe that this is a very depressing and, like, disheartening game to play because of that, because you cannot change. Like, there is nothing you can do to save the world of Cyberpunk.
Any cheat codes that'll let you do that?
maybe. I mean, you can kill Smasher in the video game.
Well, there were some side stories. I'm not sure if they kept him canon. They might have gotten rid of him, but Cyber Generation was one of the next in line tabletop games that they put out. And that one had the AIs, or hinted at a council of AIs that had gone rogue, that got together and started creating.
It's not really touched in the game, but it is hinted and implied several times, and we are all hoping, me first, that Cyberpunk 2, like the incoming Cyberpunk, I really hope they're going to dive more into that, because this is fascinating. There is like sort of a hint to it during some side gigs. It is mentioned from time to time too. When it comes to the cyberspace, there is this whole black wall thing that you can't cross, because beyond that black wall, there are all those rogue AIs and wild things that are actually trying to enter, if I could call that way, as a human realm, taking control and everything. And it is hinted. Sometimes it is implied. When you read shards and stuff, you can have some more lore about it, but it's not really touched in the game.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah, but yeah, it is not that touched into, but yeah. But the thing that you mentioned about Cyber Generation is a spin-off of the original books, it is a little bit more hopeful, and it's a lighter take. In Cyber Generation, it uses a lot of the rules for Cyberpunk, but it is more of X-Men
It lightens them up a
evolution.
bit.
You know? Yeah, it's superpowered teenagers fighting against tech barons. So it is a little bit more. It's a little like less gritty, less depressing, less realistic, because that's the only time in a cyberpunk in the cyberpunk quote unquote canon, although it is, again, it's a spin-off, so it's not fully canon, but it's the only time where superpowers, like actual superpowers, not like tech that makes you above human, actual superpowers and mutations and whatnot, is the first time that comes into play into the canon.
You mean like nation states, you mean?
No. Cyber Generation is a.
There's a bunch of nanotech enhancements that can infect people and give them powers.
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like it's Cyberpunk is high tech. That one is just sci-fi fantasy. You know, basically. It goes into the what's that thing that gives that the Star Wars movie tried to explain the Jedi powers as the
Metachlorians.
Metachlorians. Yeah, it goes into that territory of like explaining the science behind it, you know. So it goes a little more farther than just science fiction and like futurist tech into somewhat supernatural.
By the way, Mattu, our buddy KranberriJam's out there in the chat.
Hi, Gran.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Yeah, that's about it, I would say, about Cyber Generation and the impact in the it is, a lot of people find it sad and hard to like hard to care about stories that are lost by default, but I would argue that there is like more value in fighting this battle, because like since the world at large can't be fixed, we got to put all our efforts in fixing the, you know, what's around us, our communities, our friends, our family, who we care for. You know, like in a world that is hopeless in the big picture, you've got to take care of the small time, you know, and that's the whole point that the tabletops are trying to explain. Like one of the tenets, you know, how every RPG at the start has like, hey, keep these things in mind to play our RPG. And one of the points is it's always personal, you know, it's always street level. It's always your story. Like the world is fucked, but you don't need to be a world hero. You just need to save yourself and those you love, which, you know, it can be, if you want to take that in a humanist communitary way, great. If you want to take that into a, you know, egocentric, selfish way, that's also good. It's the story you want to tell. So it explores those sorts of themes, right? What do you do with a war that has been lost? What do you do in a basically a post-apocalypse? You know, because you mentioned, I remember like earlier in the stream, you mentioned like things aren't really post-apocalypse. I would say that in Cyberpunk they absolutely are. They 100% are post-apocalyptic. They are recovered from the post-apocalypse, but Cyberpunk Red, the most recent book, the most recent edition of the RPG, happens in 2045, so the 2040s, called the Times of the Red. It is basically a post-apocalyptic version of the universe at large, of Night City, you know?
Yeah.
Wars absolutely wrecked everything, and people are desperately trying to rebuild. They do rebuild, as we see, since, you know, the game comes 30 years later and things are rebuilt. But it is very much a situation where things went bad, the world ended multiple times, but we just keep going the best we can, you know?
Well, that I guess that brings us to this, I guess, but
yeah,
that's sort of similar to Alita Battle Angel in that it's post-apocalyptic as well, where they had in Alita, they've got like you know, each of the planets have been colonized. You know, Jupiter and Venus, the civilizations are floating above certainly the clouds, because a human can't survive in the atmosphere of Jupiter nor in the atmosphere of Venus. But on Mars, they built this gigantic dome, and so now you got these 4 powers. That you have Venus, the Earth, Mars, and Jupiter, and Earth and Mars go to war with each other, and it's called the Great War of the Fall. And they basically kind of annihilate each other, really, and then they rebuild. Just kind of like you were saying that Night City did. So, and with in the world of Alita, where you don't have on Earth, where you don't have, like an upscale high tech section of town, and then a poor kind of ghetto-ish kind of type of thing. What you have on Earth is you got the town or the city that's on the ground is very much like a scrap pile, is all it is, junk and stuff like this. And there's a floating city above, about 2 miles above it, that's tied to another city that's in geosynchronous orbit above the Earth, and they're tied together with a great space elevator, so but it's very similar in that the people on Zalem, which is in that city that's above Iron City. Iron City is really nothing more than just. I mean, it is very dystopian. It's kind of one of those a place of desperation. In dead center is a big junkyard that they call the scrapyard, and
where all the trash from Zalem falls down.
Falls
Zalem's
down
a sky
onto
city
it.
where the elites live.
And nobody from Iron City can travel up to Zalem because they don't allow it, because they're too good up there. So, and of course, I think some of the backstory on that for the movie is that there was during the Great War, Mars launched a bio weapon that probably killed 90% of all humans on Earth, and Earth had launched this cyber weapon that probably killed 90% of all cyborgs.
It was a nanoplague.
Yeah, nanoplague, that's right. That wiped out about 90% of all the cyborgs on Mars. So you see how that went. So, and that's kind of where Alita lives now. She's, she is brought to life by this guy named Dysonito, and some of their tech is super advanced. Some of it is very backward, and some of it is like tech today, stuff like that. So anyway, because they're just really rebuilding stuff from junk is what they're doing. So
yeah, that's very similar to what we have going on Cyberpunk. The games and the anime itself is like skips over that, so to speak. It goes straight to when it was quote unquote rebuilt, but the RPG book is extremely that. Everything fell apart. We don't have infrastructure anymore, so we're basically back to a dark age, and the differences between the haves and have-nots is like 10 times harder. You don't have a floating city in Cyberpunk, but you might as well have, with the differences between the rich gentrified neighborhoods and the poor neighborhoods. You might as well have that same extreme stark dichotomy. It goes to like it speaks to the same idea behind it all. So yeah, it is, when it comes down to it, they share so many of the same DNA as each other. So yeah.
Vladi, wasn't there somebody that put a skin on that character V and made her look like Alita? Is that, am I recalling that right? Or
yes, someone made a great Alita skin in like a mod in Cyberpunk.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
We got to find that. We should have brought it up for the stream.
Yeah, I know. I wish
anybody got that.
Let me see if I can look it up.
Angelus might have it.
Angelus is out in the chat, I think, although I haven't seen him do anything here in the last few minutes.
Let me see if I can find something.
Yeah, so I guess Night City or the more upscale part of it
on YouTube, but I don't know if they're
oh, is it on YouTube?
Because there was one that was really good that like the body seemed really nice.
Yeah, really did look like Alita a lot.
There's a few like that aren't as good around.
Yeah.
Let me look it up.
Oh, Gabo, yes, this is it. This is the doll body. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, the dog.
There it is.
Okay,
the modding community for the game is amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I sent it to Matu. She can like share it around.
Can you share
Oh.
the screen there, Matu? Or
Yeah, I can. Hold on. Présenter.
by the way, I put Chaos Nova's video out there if anybody wants to see it. Let's see. There is Matu's share, I think. Yeah, it looks pretty good. The one I'm thinking of looks.
With her arm.
There was a
horns
berserker one,
and-
wasn't there?
Well, the one I was thinking of was the one that looks like her berserker body.
Those
Oh.
legs and arm details are good though.
Oh yeah, they are extremely good. Yeah,
I think there's a few around.
yeah.
We should find them all.
Can look up some more. Let me see. I am indeed quite into modding my game.
Mm.
That is pretty good though. The particularly the legs. They look very much like Alita's legs, don't they?
Yeah, they're straight up her legs and arms.
Well, the arms too, though. Really, yeah. The little gold inlays just below her shoulder and
Yeah, the floral patterns. Very good.
yeah, yeah. That looks very much like Alita in the doll body. Yeah,
And they couldn't do the back and the
yeah,
body though for some reason. I guess because arms and legs are more like detachable.
yeah.
them good old
Appendages.
them good old quick swap mounts.
Exactly. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
pull them off and on.
I can't seem to find anything else for Alita on the Nexus, but well, maybe it was changed
Oh,
around. Maybe they have a different name.
No, I think I got it. I got
Okay,
it.
cool. Yeah,
Is
you'll
this
have
it?
to- yeah, that's it. Yeah, let me. Oh, you sharing? Yeah, there we go. Yep, that's it.
Ah,
That looks very much like Alita right there in the berserker body.
there's Measure over there. There's the guy.
The arms are maybe a touch off because she's got like
Yeah, it's
purple-
not as that. It doesn't have the detail of that doll body in terms of the like, but it's
Yeah.
it's close enough.
Oh, it is pretty good though. Yeah,
And her like general body shape is similar to
Yeah.
what hers is.
yeah,
It's always nice.
There's the guy.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
cool.
gotta check out Alita sometime. I really gotta, sit down and
You'll
check it out.
definitely
sometime.
like it. It's got all the cyberpunk
I mean,
themes you like.
I got the link, Gabo. It's on Nexus Mod. It's a video,
Hmm.
but I got it jamming it to you.
Yeah, they probably have usually these videos will have the yeah, they have they list what they're using, what mods they're using and whatnot.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So Night City is Night City, I guess in some ways is a little bit like Iron City because it doesn't have a kind of a rich section like that, but it does have several sections. It's got a kind of like a Latino section. It's got an Asian section.
Yeah, like
yeah, and
Night City is it was kind of made to be an everywhere city, metropolis Earth, so to speak.
yeah, yep,
To have that vibe of being like a malleable thing that like you can like change to fit the story you want to tell, and that's why it is like that. It is somewhat malleable. We have maps for Night City in canon,
yeah. Wow.
but they aren't all like perfectly fit with each other, and that's kind of by design because that's what the RPG creators wanted out of Night City. They wanted to be this multicultural hodgepodge that you can like make. It is a backdrop to tell your stories, so it should fit your stories, not your stories fit Night City necessarily.
Yeah.
But in universe, the reason why Night City is this complicated it is a multi-level city. Even there are some areas in Night City that you have like 3 levels of street, you know, like street atop of street atop of street. So like
Yeah.
it is not very it doesn't have a lot of area, but it has like insane density. Like it has like 7 something million people crammed into a space that's like smaller than real life. Like it is smaller than some districts in some cities. Like it is insanely dense. But the story of Night City in universe is that it was a city that was built to be this corporate heaven, right? To be this absolutely no rules barred, extreme capitalist pipe dream that allows yes, the multi-billion corporations definitely will run a perfectly viable and well-adjusted city. Absolutely believe that will 100% work. I'm absolutely sure. So it was established to be this this oasis of capitalism in a world of chaos, as the world started to crumble after some, multiple types of issues early in the lore of Cyberpunk in general. And it is a free Night City is a city state by definition.
Oh, kind of like the old Greek city states, I guess, in some ways. Huh?
Yeah, it is. It is in California. It is a California state city. In universe, North California and South California are different states, and it is not a part of the NUSA, the new United States of America. It is a free city completely. And a lot of people fight over the control of Night City, right? It is a little bit of a free reign, like corporations kind of can like fight each other basically to make it, to make of Night City what they want. And because it is a free city, it is a massive there's a massive influx of like everything, like the big. It is the floodgates of world culture into the North America in general, right? It is much easier to get into Night City than it is to get into any other city in the new states of America or any of the free states, because some states broke off from the new United States of America in the timeline. Texas is independent, for example. But Night City itself is very open because of that. So like there's a lot of different people from a lot of different parts of the world, and they each built Night City into their little corners, so you have a massive cultural presence of like everything from like Japan and China to like Eastern European, and a lot of back in the lore, a lot of people from Haiti, because Haiti literally got flooded, literally disappeared off of the map. So a lot of Haitian refugees came into Night City. So
Latino.
They formed the gang. They formed the gang of the Voodoo Boys.
Yeah, they formed the Voodoo Boys. And so it is a very, very multicultural place because it is a free city, so to speak. It has like
exactly. It's like a lot like Alita, where there was the big war, the fall, and then they all came to Zalem because it was the last Sky City left where they could like feed off the scraps of that.
There's also a similarity where there is a lot of wasteland and deserts all around Iron City, and it is kind of the same around Night City. They are like the Badlands, who are no man's land.
Yeah, basically. Because in much like you guys said, there was a big war in Alita. Cyberpunk also had a big war called the Fourth Corporate War, which is the war to end all wars. It is the one that like destroyed the world, so to speak. And so like the rebuilding is from that, and it did like ravage across the entirety of North America and other places of the world. It was a world war. It's called the Fourth Corporate War, but it was a world war. Like a lot of proxy wars were fought into. Cyberpunk in general used to be a lot more open to the rest of the world. It wasn't that focused in Night City. It is focused in Night City, right, as the main place to run your campaigns on. But it has information of the rest of the world. You know, there were like content books for 2020 that were like. There was one called Euro Tour, I think, about like the entirety of Europe and the EU. That like it's not the EU exactly, but it's like the in universe equivalent to the EU. There's one called Something Thunder, which is for Asia. So like there is a whole world. The world didn't end in its own Night City now, but Night City is the main backdrop. I do believe they will release more supplements that will focus on other parts of the world. But Night City is so focused because it is this corporate heaven. Like all corporations fight in Night City because they have like a lot more free reign than in other places. I think the only place that is like more lawless for corporations than Night City is the poor third world countries that the corporations absolutely destroy for their own gain, you know.
Gabbo, are you familiar with the movie Rollerball?
Yeah, I what?
You familiar with the movie Rollerball?
Rollerball? No.
It's a very old movie. It came out in 1973. But one of the things that is kind of the backstory to that is that there are no more nation states, and the corporations took over, and they had these corporate wars. They had several of them.
Yeah.
And then the result was the corporations controlled various aspects of society, like transportation, food, entertainment, stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
And each of these corporations had their own team for a rollerball team, which is somewhat similar to the motorball is in Alita, and they use it to distract the masses, and stuff like that. But they had corporate wars there too that just destroyed just about all of the nation states, and then they took over. So sounds similar to that.
Yeah, this whole thing where people were afraid of the power that these big corporations were attaining in real life. Like a lot of people were very scared of where corporate power would go in the 70s and the 80s, and that's all of these things were like brewed from the same pot,
Yeah.
So they all shared that idea of like where corporations, like if you do give them reign, they just will like ruin everything in the path of progress. And Cyberpunk is like extremely about that. Like the basically everything south of the equator was absolutely torn apart to like make way to corporations. There are countries, but there are basically no countries. It's just like, I don't know, Brazil belongs to Biotechnica or something like that,
Australia belongs to somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically that. It's basically that level of corporate control, like.
Jeez.
And it's not even covert anymore. It's like literal. It's like openly, like
not covert like it is. Well, it's not really that covert now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it is a little bit more covert now, like slightly less in the open, but it is like absolutely in the open. In fact, going like wrapping back around, Johnny Silverhand's story is like he became Johnny Silverhand because he fought in one of those like third world country wars. That like, there was like a 1,000 proxy wars throughout like South America and Africa, and Australia also got pretty bad. A lot of Eastern Asia outside of the giants, which are like China and Japan, basically. A lot of the rest of East Asia was absolutely ruined by wars too. So like Vietnam, Korea's, the all of those countries got like severely impacted by all these proxy wars, and Johnny Silverhand fought in the South American wars. He gained the Silver Hand is because of that, because he lost his arm in those conflicts.
So he's a cyborg then. He was a cyborg.
Like the term cyborg in universe for Cyberpunk, it is not a real. It is a real term, but it's less of a specific thing. Like the only thing you can call a cyborg is what we call a full body conversion, an FBC, which is what Atom Smasher is.
Yeah.
That's a cyborg. You
In
extract.
Alita, that's called a total replacement cyborg.
Yeah, you extract the brain and the brain stem. You put it into something called a biopod, which is basically life support for, just the brain, basically. And then you can slot that into different bodies that are like fully metal and whatnot. That's what a cyborg really is.
Yeah,
However,
that's what Alita is. She's like 98% machine.
Yeah, so she would be a cyborg.
Yeah.
They are a thing, but they are like, this is a thing that costs like hundreds of thousands of euro dollars, and like this is Atom Smasher himself is only a cyborg because he's a corporate lapdog, because he's a corporate weapon, because for normal people to gain the amount of power and money needed to do something like that, they have to be in the pocket of someone much more powerful than them. This is not something like, not even V. And V can get like extremely chromed up in game. They can install like a bunch of different things, and they still aren't a cyborg.
Yeah.
Even then, because like you can call a very chromed up person you're basically a cyborg,
Yeah.
But that's like slang offhand. Johnny doesn't have enough cyberware to be considered a Borg. He's fairly
Is it just
normal.
his hand or just his arm?
He has he used to have a cyberware list in the older games, in the older books, because he wasn't a playable character, but he was definitely an NPC you could meet, so he had stat blocks, right? You had stat blocks for all these powerful characters. Yeah, all these important canon characters had their stat blocks. And he had some chrome, but he had like way less chrome than someone like V would. Not only because he is from like way back, right? And like the tech really develops a lot in the 60 years between V and Johnny. But he, even back then, he would be considered like somewhat normal. Because while there is a big difference between poor people and rich people, cyberware in general is somewhat common, so to speak. Like,
and if I can add, basically everybody has some kind of exploitation system, scanners in their eyes, like at least to see stuff like time. Most of calls, not every calls, but most of calls are made through all holocalls, who are implemented directly in your brain. Most people don't use phones anymore. And those are, I mean, Gabo, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not even sure that does count as cyberware because of how common it is.
I mean, it does, but the big deal about the big difference to I don't know if that's a thing in Alita or not, but in Cyberpunk, back then, 2020s and whatnot, cyberware was a lot more of a special thing, right? A lot of people like you can get a cyber arm for like what, $500, $700. Like, it is accessible, right? But there's a big difference between like street chrome and like corporate chrome, you know. But the good part about like how free state Night City kind of is that a lot of people did break the because again, the corporates have free reign, but you know, there's not enough. If everyone has free reign, that includes people that sometimes do want to help the poor people, you know. So you do have folk that will do like operations and cyber installations for poor folk that need it, right? So like in the world of Night City at large, you don't really like, I lost an arm, I don't need to like in-debt myself for the rest of my life to get a replacement old tech arm that would allow me to like function normally, right? So there is like street level chrome, and again there's like rich and powerful and so to speak. You can have a normal cyber arm that looks like a piece of machinery from like 1990, or you can have this chromed up Gucci branded arm, like, so that is still a thing. That is yet another thing that you can like exploit out of people. Like, oh, it's not really a cyber arm if it's not a what's the name of the
brand name,
a brand,
Yeah.
a font.
will-
If it's not an
I
font
will-
cyber arm, is it really a cyber arm?
I will be honest, the so-called straight cyberware looks way much cooler than some Gucci arm.
Yeah, some people do like that. Some people like the punkish look of the street level stuff.
It's the best.
Well, you see a lot of people in Alita and Iron City, probably, and I don't know if it's a majority or not, but a very significant percentage of them are somewhat cyborgs. They'll at very least have maybe a cyber arm. They may have 2 cyber legs or something like that. Now, Alita is, and there are others. There's another character named Zapan. When you said Street Chrome, that kind of reminded me a little bit of Zapan. He's another character.
Yep.
And he's sort of a, he's a total replacement cyborg, but his cybernetics are more, how would you say, down to earth, I guess you could say. I don't know.
Yeah.
And Alita's berserker body is ultra advanced military weaponry is what it is, and you can see there on the picture on the left, that she's her cybernetics are way advanced over the other cyborgs in Iron City. So anyway,
in terms of what's visible, but there's also guys who have all their cybernetics on the inside, like Chaos does.
Yeah. Well, yeah, in the movie though, right, that's right.
In the movie. Yeah. But the scary part is Chaos is more of a cyberpunk character than potentially anyone in there is, because all the time he can listen, he can hear your phone calls, he can hear your radio, he can hear you on the internet.
That's right.
I don't want to get more creepy than that.
It'd be interesting to have a match or have a fight between Alita and Atom Smasher. My money would be on Alita in her berserker body.
Probably, yeah.
Because she has an inherent plasma weapon that is just devastating. I mean, she fought that character Grewishka, which kind of, as I said, reminded me of Atom Smasher. She took him down in 10 seconds. So he was dead. So
yeah.
I think that Atom Smasher would be able to take down Alita. Maybe not late manga Alita in Last Order where she's basically God, but movie Alita and early gun Alita, he would be able to take her down.
Well, possibly, but my thing about Alita and the berserker body, if you want to consider what's in the manga, what her capabilities are in the berserker body in the manga, of course, we didn't see that in the movie because we didn't see her that much as much. But in theory, her berserker body can run at Mach 6.5. So I mean, and she has that inherent plasma weapon, unless he can run that fast. I don't know if he's going to stand a chance.
I mean, I wouldn't be able to tell if, like, I don't know enough about Alita in general, so I wouldn't be able to tell.
She's very good, but she has a certain like special weaknesses, like airborne nanites that could just make her shut down.
Yeah, we didn't see that in the movie, but yeah, that's right. Yeah.
If you get in the later in the manga, she has vulnerabilities like that. But then again, the villain that does that is pretty tech savvy to do that.
Yeah. Realistically, the biggest thing that Smasher has is not even his intrinsic power. It's the corporate backing. He belongs to Arasaka, right? And Arasaka is an extremely powerful corporation in the universe. So like, he takes orders from them. So like his biggest strength is not that he is extremely powerful, is that he has that backing. You know, maybe if the whoever is on mission control to deal with Alita would know things they could exploit, and Smasher would be briefed on that, and you know, the whole Batman thing, like with preparation, he would win. It kind of fits. I think it's bullshit, but it kind of fits that because he does have the corporate backing.
That
So,
sounds
that
sounds like a topic for another stream. Alita versus one of them would be Atom Smasher.
There's power, but remember, even big towers fall down.
Yeah, true. The whole there's a whole thing in the community, the Cyberpunk community. There's only 2 characters that have like canonically fought Smasher and won. One of them was because like even Johnny Silverhand, a very important character, the game tries to pretend that Johnny is like really powerful and strong and special and this and that. In reality, in like the way it's actually canonly written, he was absolutely like, you know, the thing like Alita defeated the super cyborg in like 10 seconds. It was the other way around. Smasher ended Johnny in like a snap of his fingers. Like Johnny was like, "Oh, finally, I got to fight you, Smasher." Smasher literally cut him in half with a machine gun, and like, who even are you? I don't even know you. He kind of is like that, but the character.
And, you know, that's interesting because Garishka is a little bit like that too, isn't he? I mean, you know, he's got Nova behind him, and he's got the what was called the factory, it's kind of like that too, isn't it? Yeah.
In the movie, Grishka is like this. In the movie, Grishka is fully the tool of Nova. Meanwhile, in the manga, Makaku got a body given by Nova, but he's in the tool of Nova, and he's not even in contact with them anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
Meanwhile, sometimes in the movie, Nova literally talks through Grishka.
Well, Nova does possess him sometimes, you know, because he makes his eyes change color to blue.
Yeah, he's got brain chips in Grishka, and basically all his slaves on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is kind of cool, actually.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good parallel right there, I think, you know. So
in universe, the only 2 characters to ever defeat Smasher are V, now, in the as of the recent game V, and a character called Morgan Blackhand, which Morgan is just a footnote in the game, but they are like, everyone thinks that Johnny Silverhand is the main character of the franchise in general. Like Johnny Silverhand is the face of the franchise. Actually, it was Morgan. Morgan was originally the GM's PC for the whole series. The franchise was created by a guy, Mike Pondsmith, Maximum Mike, the big man himself.
Okay.
And he ran his own game, of course. He ran his own game. And Morgan Blackhand was his DMPC, you know, it was his personal character, his self-insert, right?
Yeah.
And he used Morgan Blackhand to be a bit of a plot director to write the start of Cyberpunk, right? To define what Cyberpunk was. He was, as the GM, his character was the driving force of a lot of things. And Smasher and Morgan, they had a whole, like, they were like bitter rivals, right? Smasher was this hyper violent, ultra bad cyborg dude. Metal is stronger than flesh. None of you will ever step up to me because I'm above all of you. Like flesh is weak and whatnot. And Morgan was this guy of like, you're full of shit. It's not the gear that makes the man. It's the man that makes the gears. Fuck off. Yeah. So like they had this rivalry between them. And there was one situation where Morgan defeated Smasher in combat, but it was like early Smasher, right? Because Smasher also has like a power jump, right? And then afterwards, Smasher kept going like, oh, I just wasn't strong enough at that specific point.
So you got an
now
upgrade.
now that I have my upgrades, we should fight again to see who wins. And Smasher and Black Hand just kept like, nah, I'm good. We don't got to do this. Like, fuck it. Like, I already beaten you. What else do you want? And like some people say
is that the Idris Elba looking character, Morgan Black Hand?
No. It is a different character.
Oh, okay.
Idris Elba is a 2070s character called Solomon Reed.
Okay.
Morgan Blackhand is from way back in the 2020s. They're from the book. He doesn't appear in the games or movies at all. There are theories. There are theories about Blackhand, but he doesn't have any canon appearances yet. But he technically was a person that defeated Smasher. They had a rematch at the Arasaka bombing, but that was inconclusive because I think Maximum Mike himself thought like, wow, making my self-insert character defeat the big bad in the universe is kind of self-serving, huh? It's kind of defeats the purpose of having a big bad. So he kind of made it like a mythological thing. Like it's street stories, it's mythology, like street mythology in universe where people will say like, oh yeah, Blackhand was so strong he defeated Smasher, and some people are like, bullshit, Smasher definitely wasn't defeated by Blackhand. Blackhand just dodged the fight all the time, and like there's this whole like mythology behind it so that the players and GMs can like craft the story they want to craft, right? But then you have like fully canon V is the guy that took down Smasher. In canon, there's two people that like definitely defeated Smasher was V and Morgan. They wouldn't even have to get rid of Smasher in like the future because again, he is a full conversion. He can just be rebuilt by Arasaka. You can just like, oh, I killed Smasher. Whatever, we make another one. You know, so
that's sort of like Alita and Garushka because when Alita first fights Garushka, he's in he's a big hulking cyborg. He's probably about 4 meters tall or something like that, and she's just this little bitty 4'11" chick, 14-year-old teenager, and she literally separates his arm. But he was in a different body, and he got some upgrades, from the people that were working for Nova. And she fought him again, and he beat her and almost killed her. And then she got an upgrade on that berserker body, and then she killed him. So it kind of sounds similar. I mean, doesn't it?
There's a lot of this back and forth between. I think it's cool. It's cool because you keep these mystical characters that you can like make different stories with.
You can debate.
And it's great because whenever my players like Mathieu and the others ever pull themselves too powerful in our campaign, I can just bring maybe you guys got the attention of someone you really didn't want to get the attention of.
Well, I mean, currently in the run, I am bordering on cyber psychosis, so that's not for right now. About the discussion about Morgan Blackhand, I've seen a theory online that I find very interesting, that Johnny's engram in the construct is not really Johnny Silverhand, but an AI replicating Johnny Silverhand, because that is a theory of how the engrams would work, and that
it's not really a theory,
and that his memories are not entirely his and are mixed with Morgan Blackhand's memories, making Johnny this badass character that he actually never was, because some of the memories you see and he tells you about are not his. This is a nice theory I like.
Wow.
Yeah, like it comes from the fact that in the game, the way it is portrayed in game, Johnny is this like big.
Hello?
You there? Yeah,
Gabo?
it looks like we lost Gabo.
Uh-oh.
He's still here.
Boy, we're having some
my
internet
phone?
problems, aren't we? Well, I can't believe that Gabo's internet service provider is the same as mine since he's in Brazil.
Well, he's still
Morgan
connected, so
Blackhand
it's
is
probably
actually
a
the guy.
microphone issue or something.
Oh, he's
Yeah,
back.
here, Gabo. Hi, yes.
Yeah, we lost you for a second there, Gabo.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry, my internet sometimes. Yeah, but in the books, the way Johnny is displayed, being this like the video game shows Johnny as this big guy, the like driving force behind his attack on Arasaka to like bring down the corporations because I'm fed up with them. While in reality, the entire thing, like the entire bombing, was not an inside job, but like it was all along. It was never Johnny being revolutionary. It was just one corporation attacking another corporation. It all boils down to just yet another corporate war. And Morgan, he did work. A lot of people in the universe considered Morgan a sellout because he did work for a corporation. So like, yeah, some people will call him he's the solo, right? He's the most important mercenary in history. He is this legendary character, right? And a lot of people aspire to be him. But there's also a lot of people that go like, he's just a sellout. He's just Adam Smasher, but from Militech. Come on, guys. Like, why are you guys buying into this corporate bullshit? He was not like us here in the street. He's just another corporate lapdog that had better PR, I suppose, which is, another avenue you can explore. But in reality, yes, Johnny's memories that are displayed in the game are not the way things are written canonically in the timeline of Cyberpunk. They are very different. They're basically a distillation. It is hard to say because the game never defines that exactly, but Johnny's memories can be faulty for like a myriad of reasons, right? There are like a lot of different lines of thought you can take to explain why Johnny's memories aren't canonical. But one of the theories is that they combine more than one engram to make the modern Johnny engram. But the thing about his engram is an AI. Yes, all engrams are technically AIs. They are like a digital version of a existing brain.
They're copies, aren't they? Are they not copies of what you consider the concept?
Yeah, they are like conceptually, literally AIs, right?
Yeah.
And it is displayed in game by Jackie Wells' storyline, which is another little Jackie. Pray for Jackie.
Oh my god, he's like one of the most liked character in Cyberpunk, and everybody loved Jackie. Jackie was a real one. I love Jackie.
Jackie, he in the game, depending on your choices, he can have an engram made of him. And it's shown clearly that his engram is like very faulty, very artificial. It's not like natural and fully sentient and like well developed like Johnny's.
Does it have bugs in it?
basically, yeah. It is made of inferior hardware, but it is implied that the thing behind that is that when you make the engram, if you take too long to make an engram after a person dies, it will like deteriorate the engram. So like if you take too long, if the person dies and it's been long enough, you can't make that engram anymore. And Jackie's engram is implied to have been made at least a few days after his death. So his engram is like super limited. It is easy to derive then that Johnny's engram suffered the same thing. Less than Jackie's, sure, but it also was made a certain amount of time after his death, right? So it is like not fully true to reality anymore. Like his memories are a bit scrambled because of that. Because it took a bit.
We've had that discussion about Alita because she, when at the end of the original manga, she gets blown up basically, by this guy named Nova, and he makes a copy of it, or almost like an engram, like you said, and puts it in a brain chip and resurrects her as an android, And we've had that discussion of whether she still maintains the same self-awareness, if she's got the same consciousness,
Whether she's fully there or not.
Yeah, and whether, you know, she's got her memories, got all the memories, but she doesn't. We don't know if she's got the same sentience. You know what I'm saying? So we've had that discussion several times. So
yeah, it is a common worry, right? Like I feel like a lot of stories that deal with this like digitization of a mind often brings this into like how much of it is really preserved, like how much of it is like approximation, how much of it is like reliably the same person. Like, is Johnny Silverhand the engram the same Johnny Silverhand, the person that died 50 years ago? You know, like it is even in universe, it is a point of contention about the technology itself. You know, it's the technology is called a relic. It's the name of the chip itself, the special chip. The relic is it is old tech. Actually, the origin of the relic tech is again Arasaka, of course, but it was created in the 2020s. Also, 2077 is basically a direct continuation of the storyline of the book, of the RPG book of 2020, right? The relic technology was created to be something called a demon, which is a type of like sentient program. It is a very, very advanced AI. It's not a true AI, like a singularity AI yet, but it's like one step back from a sentient AI.
Maybe a lot like the agents are in Matrix, right?
Yeah. Basically, they are the agent, but they are not on the level of something like the architect. You know, or the oracle or something like that. They are like one step back. Exactly. It was called Soul Killer. It was a demon called Soul Killer. The goal of it was to deter netrunners. It would, whenever someone would try to invade, netrunners being the guys that surf the internet to hack.
Hackers.
Not everyone in Cyberpunk is a hacker. The actual hackers of Cyberpunk are the netrunners, right? They whenever someone like a netrunner would try to do something to a Arasaka system, they would have Soul Killer installed in the system. And if the netrunner ever failed, like if they were not a godly netrunner of some sort, they would be literally erased. Like their conscience would be like snapped off. It's not like they would burn their brain. It wouldn't like damage their circuitry. No, it would literally turn off the synapses of their brain. Like it was fully clean. Yeah, that's why it's called a soul kill. They were technically a live body, but with nothing inside of it, right?
Yeah, I have a question for Matu. Matu, you and Kran both like Jackie, right?
Yeah.
You like?
I also love Jackie. Love Jackie. We all love Jackie.
What is your question?
Jackie.
Well, the question was you guys both love Jackie. That's all the question.
Everybody loves Jackie.
Jackie's a sweetheart, yeah.
Oh.
But then that was the original point of Soul Killer. It would like snap off someone's brain completely. Yeah. And then they discovered that Soul Killer would be able to, since it deals directly with the synapses and whatnot, it would be able to mimic that. So you could turn off someone's mind and then like transfer it into code, right? And Arasaka planned to do that with netrunners so that they would like literally create a copy of a netrunner that tried to invade their systems and then use that netrunner copy to defend the system. You know, they would literally use their attackers against the future attackers. That was the whole point of the relic. Yeah. But once it was supposed to be like defensive tech, once they realized this would mean they could make like a copy of a person with like their personalities and memories and all that, they were like, wait a minute, we can sell those to rich folk that don't want to die.
Yeah.
So they changed the Soul Killer project into the Relic project, the Secure Your Soul project, right?
Yeah.
Which is the thing. The first Relic used to be this engram. It would create an engram of a dying person, and you could then like use technology to access that engram, right? You would like slot it in a computer, and then you could like chat box it, right? It was like an AI, but you would have to interact with it as you would interact with an AI, you know, like to a text prompt or something like that. Like a hologram, something more simple like that.
Yeah.
Relic 2.0, which is what Johnny is he is a test run for Relic 2.0. They went like, okay, we can make a copy of someone, but how do we break them out of the computer into back into the real world, you know? And that's when the Relic that V slots into their brain, and slowly, like as V has the Relic in their brain, it is slowly making V turn into Silverhand. That's the point of the Relic.
Oh,
you
wow.
install Relic 2.0.
Yeah, it is basically the way V explains it. It is destroying V's synapse and rebuilding them to fit Silverhand in their body.
Yeah, through the story, it is implied that you are slowly turning into John.
Holy shit, that sounds insidious, man.
Yeah, and the idea of this, of how you would use this IRL, like not IRL, but like in the market, right?
Yeah.
The production version of this technology would be that you could make a brain scan of someone, you could make the engram, and then you could clone their body, clone a new version of their dying body, or even make a new body from scratch, because they do have technology from that. Cloning technology is illegal, but it exists, and as we know, in the world of the rich, illegal just means not for the poor.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
they would literally just like clone themselves. I'm reaching the end of my life. Let me clone myself, make an engram of myself, and then install that engram into that brain dead clone body, right? And my engram would like transfer. It's literally just a mind transfer to a new body, you know?
Yeah.
It is implied that you could do that with like a robot, maybe. I don't like it. Nothing says that. It's just extended lore that it is basically just theories from myself. But I do believe you could do that with I don't see why it wouldn't be possible with a robot, but it would be less interesting than an actual physical human body.
Sounds somewhat similar, doesn't it, Matu, to that bio printer, doesn't it, in the Last Order?
Yeah. Basically, Gabo, in Last Order, bio printer is, as its name says, a printer that basically you just have to feed it some cells of you, preferably, you know, I don't know what it is called in English, but like extreme. Okay, hold on.
DNA.
DNA.
Yeah.
You have to like give it the DNA, and you can choose to either bioprint back an entire body or to select some part to reprint. For example, Alita at some point destroys the hand of an antagonist in Last Order, and his hand is like like destroyed, bloody, just the bones and everything, and he gets it reprinted during the day.
Yeah, that is also a tech in Cyberpunk. It's called a body bank. It's like literally bit for bit the same thing, basically. The way I'm saying the way I'm seeing this is that time and time again, you guys are just telling me that I could run an Alita campaign in Cyberpunk and it would be like just perfectly in line. Like I wouldn't need to homebrew anything, apparently.
Yes, but no. Is there like there is something, and this is something I'm super fascinated by cyberpsychosis. And cyberpsychosis in Alita isn't a thing. Some characters go psycho, some characters go manic. But cyberpsychosis isn't a thing in Alita. You can be as chromed up as you want. With even like the worst chrome in Alita, you're not going to get cyberpsychosis, unlike Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Well, cyberpsychosis in Cyberpunk is it's a contentious topic. Even Maximum Mike himself like chimed in about it like multiple times, and there's a lot of. It is a complicated topic because it is both a meta thing and a in-universe thing, and in like in the meta sense, it is just a game mechanic, right? It's just a way to limit characters and players to like. It is a way to define and to numerize and give consequences to like chroming the fuck up. It's very similar to something like the Beast in Vampire the Masquerade or anything like that. It is a measure of how far a character can go. But so like mechanically, that's what it's for. That's why it's there, right? But in universe, cyberpsychosis is it's a buzzword, basically. It is a thing that people use to justify some violence that is like basically unjustifiable without the corporations and the people in power admitting their own fault. Like it's not it looks bad for business if I say that, oh yeah, our sergeant we had here in Militech, we fired him and we left him off completely by himself on the street, having to deal with trauma and all the upkeep of his cyberware, and he definitely had a really bad breakdown, and he killed a bunch of people because he like lost control of his situation, and we completely did not help him at all. Like, this is bad for PR. You could just say like, oh wow, a cyber psycho, huh? I guess cyberware really does fry your brain, huh? It's the same thing behind how in real life we blame media for a lot of stuff. It's much easier to go like, oh yeah, these kids shot up a school because they watch they play violent video games or they watch violent movies. Like, it is an oversimplification of a really, really complex problem that just got a buzzword attached to it, and people like use that to justify some shit that is like literally unjustifiable. So like, that's the thing. Like, is it the Chrome that makes the cyber psycho, or is it the cyber psycho just a person that's like gone over with Chrome?
There is a lot of theory about it, especially like when you go read on the wiki, or even like when you read theories or stuff in the game. It says cyberpsychosis is a mental illness, specifically a dissociative disorder caused by an overload of cybernetic augmentation to the body, and that very often cyberpsychos individuals are people who already had existing psychopathic tendencies, or at least some mental issues that are worsened by the overwhelming addition of a lot of cybernetic implants. And I've also heard and read that the quality of said implants can also affect whether and the speed at which you can reach cyberpsychosis.
No, yeah. Like, imagine, like, because again, to get chromed up to the level where you would be called a cyber psycho, you already need to be a certain type of person. Like a normal, healthy person does not get to the point of, V and David and whatnot, you already need to be somewhere, like you already need to be a mentally vulnerable person.
You need to be psychologically predisposed to that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's the same deal with like drug addiction, right? You can't be a normal, completely healthy person, like mentally healthy person, and have a drug addiction. You have a drug addiction because you already are mentally like falling and tumbling and having issues.
Yeah.
To get chromed up to the dangerous levels that these people do, they are already kind of gone. So when you join that stress, because chrome does stress the body in multiple ways, when you add that stress to real life, to the things that in the background that got them to this point, you create a whole, people just snap, even like, just like real life, people have like manic episodes. Cyberpsychosis is nothing. It's nothing like caused by the chrome. It's just a person that snapped like any other person would. They just happen to have the chrome, so they are like considerably more dangerous than a normal. Like the only difference between a cyber psycho and a normal psycho is the chrome. Yeah. It's not that the chrome causes it. It's just that the chrome makes them more dangerous.
Yeah, and in Alita, there's a slight comparison with the motorball players. A lot of them they sort of like go to extremes to try and like win motorball.
You mean Amok?
Yeah,
well, I'm talking about the one Ido who I don't know. It's so difficult not to spoil everything because he's going to watch the movie. Yeah. But one of them just needs the drugs to like keep the body going. Yeah.
A lot of motorball players definitely would tickle the edge of cyberpsychosis due to the extreme sensation and situations they love being in. And if cyberpsychosis was a thing in Alita would probably be on the edge of cyberpsychosis. When you take into account her personality, her issues, she reminds me of David from Edgerunners in a lot of aspects, as in when you read the past, like David's upbringing and everything, you learn that he was kind of messed up even before it started crumbing up. And Alita was the same. Alita definitely would toy with the cyberpsychosis, definitely.
Except in her case, though, she was a cyborg even very, very early in her life. I mean,
but even if that was the case, if cyberpsycho did exist, that would definitely be something she would experience, because as we said, cyberpsychosis is the result of a lot of chrome, but can also, it is also very heavily affected by the original person underlying mental issues.
I wonder if the nanites, though, in Alita's body would kind of act like a defense system, like your white blood cells would in humans, and if there were any kind of foreign agents in your blood, that perhaps that what you call the chrome is maybe how would you say, compromising or emitting some kind of particles in the blood that would affect your brain. I wonder if her nanites would get rid of it.
No, that does. I'm not sure that works like this. Cyberpsychosis is more of a mental issue. Like, it's mental. From what I understood, it is a mental illness. Gabo, correct me if I'm wrong.
There's even a shard in game that likes talking about cyberpsychosis. Cyberpsychosis is a social issue in universe, so it is a in vogue topic. Like, people are discussing this in universe, right?
Okay.
There is a shard in game even that says, like, realistically, a lot of cyberpsychos are not the people that, like, bring out their mantis blades in the middle of a busy street and like slice people apart. Some cyberpsychos just die in their homes, unable to face reality. Like, they just shut down instead. So like, cyberpsychosis is the buzzword to the mental illness of living in the hellscape that is, Night City and the world of cyberpunk at large. It's people not being able to take the pressure of modern life and like breaking apart. However, there's also the point of as this is also directly because Maximum Mike is sometimes active on Reddit, right? And whenever he does say something lore related, he just prefaces with "Word of God." So, like, yeah. He says that cyberpsychosis, another point that a lot of people like, because a lot of people see it as a fail state or something like that. It is a lot more complex than that. But there are, according to him, high functioning cyberpsychos, much like there are high functioning sociopaths and psychopaths in real life. You can be completely dissociated and like zero empathy and like an absolute monster and still participate in society fairly
Like
effectively.
Like Adam Smasher.
Like Adam Smasher, like Johnny Silverhand himself. Like it is implied that he is cyber psycho, just high function. I mean, you need to be at least a few grades of psychotic to blow 2 nukes in the middle of a metropolis. Nobody normal does that.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good point.
So yeah, these people are insane already. You know, V like dashes around town killing people by the hundreds. If that's not cyberpsychosis, what is? You know? Yeah. So yeah, cyberpsychosis, like they love to call cyberpsycho on the guy that loses his patience and just goes to town and kills NCPD because he's fed up with them. But I
mean, I do that.
That could be just that he's simply mad at him.
Yeah, but they'd never call that at the corporate CEO who is like absolutely fucking disgustingly disconnected from reality and just treats everyone like cattle and numbers. And he makes calls like, I don't give a shit, just get rid of these employees. I don't even want to hear about them anymore. Why is that guy not a cyber psycho? You know, why is that guy not a that basically that cold-blooded killer with extra steps? Why is he not a cyber psycho? Just the guy, the poor guy that has like that can't pay for his medication to treat his PTSD from war. Why is that guy a cyber psycho and not the motherfucker in charge? Not a cyber psycho.
That exactly.
So that's like a huge point. So Alita, like from the way that you guys described characters in this piece, they might as well be, you know, like they might as well be cyber psycho.
I think she would be a high functioning cyber psycho. She got like all the trauma you can imagine. She had them. She has PTSD. She waged war. She killed people. She saw her loved one die. She died and was reborn countless times. She sold her soul to Zalem, got cloned, food of her clones. She went into a tournament in space. No, like, she would have high functioning cyber psychosis at some point.
To make yet another bridge to yet another piece of media, I'm gonna be real. Major Kusanagi from Ghost in the Shell, she's also cyber psycho. She's gone. She's gone. Like the apathy she displays, the confusion of like what it means to be alive in the first place. That's the sort of thing that a cyber psycho like deals with. Those characters are all cyber psychos, like in their own ways. You know, they have lost.
Or they have some traits reality. Of it. At the very least, they got some traits.
Exactly. Like maybe they aren't like completely disconnected. They aren't like maybe they aren't hallucinating necessarily, but they are definitely like not fully there anymore. I mean, V literally hallucinates Johnny. He V is the definition of a cyber psycho. You know.
Yeah. And to go back to Alita, at the beginning of Gun, she's this kind of angelic, even innocent doll-like character. And as the story goes on, especially in Last Order, she starts constantly questioning her own existence, like her own plane of existence. What is she? Is she a robot? Is she an android? Is she a cyborg? Is she a human? She shows a lot of apathy. When it comes to killing people, she sees them as inferior. When there's a fighter in front of her who taunts her, she's cutting them into pieces with no remorse whatsoever. She talks down on people she views as inferior. And she shows a lot of apathy towards a lot of other character, facts and actions she does, at the same time questioning her entire existence.
Well, she does show... She does show empathy to some, though, but I kind of agree with you in that when in the Badlands arc, she is definitely off the rails there. So I could say that you might label her as psychotic, you know, in the Badlands arc, or at
Yeah,
least,
yeah.
yeah. I'm sorry, Matthew. Go ahead.
No, yeah, no, what, yeah, you were right. In the Badland arcs, she's completely psychotic. I agree. In Last Order, that's what I say. In Last Order, she may be one more on the functioning side because she's more, I'd say, passive and constantly, questioning her plane of existence, questioning who and what she is, and even if she shows some empathy towards some character, most of the time she's just in Last Order again, very full of herself and showing apathy towards majority of the other character and the being she crosses paths with. The only people she show empathy towards are children and the people who are taking care of the children. That's all.
Yeah.
Well,
This
folks,
is
go ahead, Yebo.
No. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was about to say we've been going on for over 2.5 hours. So, we just lost. Who did we lose?
Bloody.
Oh yeah, we lost Vladi because he's an hour behind you though, Matthew. So anyway, I guess let's wrap this up. Any last thoughts about the various storylines that can happen in Cyberpunk? Because it seems to me, particularly in the game, the storyline is what you make it, right? Because you're playing the game, right?
I would say that since Cyberpunk by definition is born out of tabletop, it is a very, like, it would never, like, no matter how deep and how widespread the story could be, it would never match the amount of freedom you have in a tabletop. But it is indeed quite a good, it is like a perfect entry point to the world of Cyberpunk because it will give you all facets of it. You have side stories in the game that end in tragedy. You have those that through extreme hardship you can improve, you can help people. You can see both the silver lining and the trash heap. You can see the vapid corporal world and the gutter punk. You can see it is such a good vertical slice of the Cyberpunk's franchise, of the Cyberpunk IP, that it is like the perfect entry point. Like I personally got into Cyberpunk through the game, actually through the anime first, if I'm not mistaken. I watched the anime and then I went like, okay, fine, maybe the game is okay, and then I, fell in like head first. And I have been a fan of TTRPGs my whole life. So when I made that jump to Cyberpunk, I was like, this is exactly what I've always looked for in a TTRPG. I am very happy to found it. So my parting words would be that if you like Alita, there is more you would see so much of that franchise in Cyberpunk that it would feel right at home. And it would be like me as a person who's coming from the other side. Like, I am all about Cyberpunk, and I'm now seeing Alita. I'm like only getting more and more interested in the franchise as I see all these bridges between them two. And I will definitely check out Alita. And I suggest that the people who like Alita absolutely check out Cyberpunk and look deeper into it because it is a fantastic world.
I agree.
Yeah.
I've been preaching the good word of Cyberpunk for a long time now.
Yes, she has. Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to upgrade my system with a really nice graphics card and just kind of do it myself, I guess. Or either that or get a PS. Was it run on PS5? Is that what it runs on?
Yep. It runs. I mean, I play it on PS5 and it runs very fine. And the game is still, to my pretty modest standards, pretty beautiful on PS5 too.
Okay.
Yeah, the game. You don't need a. The good part about the game itself is that it does make extremely good use of a beast rig, but it can run the game in a modest machine. If you can run like most modern games, you can probably run Cyberpunk well enough to like experience the.
Yeah, but it seems to me though you'd need a pretty good video card though, wouldn't you? I mean,
I don't have a very good video card, and I can still run it.
oh, okay.
Yeah, like my current video card, it is a modern one. It is a 4000 series NVIDIA 4000 series RTX GPU,
Damn!
but it's just a 4060. It's like an entry level GPU, and it can like plow through the game no problem. The game is like, it came out absolutely broken, absolutely laughably bad, but nowadays it is like extremely good, and it runs perfectly fine. It is.
Yeah.
I would say it is a massive. Like, I would say that all of all the RPG computer games, not TTRPGs, all the RPGs video games I've ever played, it is probably like top 3, top 5.
Wow. Okay. All right. I'll
Yeah,
have to
like-
try it. Yeah.
I would
And
say
when
that the two games that I would call like the king of RPGs, of like considering like story, freedom, etc., the world they're set in, I would call like Baldur's Gate 3 and Cyberpunk. Like
Okay.
those two are like absolutely godly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Cran
And-
says just lower the settings, so maybe that's the trick, I guess.
Yeah. But
that
no,
works
when
too.
it-
That works too.
Yeah.
No, when it comes to a graphic card, to give you an example, I've got a very old 1060 GTX 1060 in my PC, and it technically can still run it on low setting, but I technically can run it. So you should be able to get by fine, especially because the 30 series are now extremely affordable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to get it. So, and yeah, Gabo, we highly recommend you watch Alita too. You know, because
Oh, I might check out. I'm interested.
And-
I've been thinking about getting back into reading manga. I might go back to the manga
Yes.
stuff.
yeah,
Yes.
yes. The manga is where you want to go. Now, the movie's great for sure. I love the movie, you know, but I really fell in love with the manga as well. So, you know, it's I've got all except volume 10 of Mars Chronicles. So, and that's God, who knows how many volumes that is. It's many. So
Hell yeah. I will definitely check it out. Yeah.
cool. All right, guys. Well, I guess we're kind of running long here, and Matu is she probably wants to get back to the game and not go to sleep. So we want to.
You don't have to call me out like this.
Don't worry, she's just doing some prep for our next game section,
cool.
which is coming up soon.
Cool. All right. Did we miss anything, you guys?
No, I don't think so.
We probably did, because both of these IPs are so freaking huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, we missed them, you know, that's for sure.
30 years of IP.
God almighty, yeah.
Oh, one last thing, if
Sure.
people to people interested in Cyberpunk, there are a lot of comics, actually, like one-shot comics that are made that have been made as like promo material for the game, the anime, and the book. So like, and the RPG book. So like, there's a lot of I don't know if it's as expensive of an IP as Alita, but it has comics, it has written stuff, it has the game, it has the anime. There is a live action thing coming out, so yeah.
Yep. And we are currently getting a manga about the background of Pilar and Rebecca.
Yeah.
True.
And Cran says don't forget the OVA, Cran says. Okay.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Gabo,
check that
Gabo,
out.
Gabo, what did you say? I heard you say my name.
To your absolute happiness.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I got material with Pilar, with the character who was less likely to get canon material, but he does, because he's a brother of literally one of the most popular characters of the show.
Yeah.
This is the only reason I get material.
I choose to believe, to keep the hope that one day I will see them canonized. They have canonized other fan characters in the content of the books. I pray that they ourselves will be canonized.
I wish. I want Cell to be canonized too. I wish.
All right. Well, as you can see from that center panel there, Alita does love her Uncle Creek. And if you don't like that, just take it up with her and see what you think of that plasma weapon she has there. So, and the reason why Alita loves her Uncle Creek is because he wants a sequel. Just like she wants a sequel, and all of us in the Alita army want a sequel. And Disney, do you hear us? Holy shit, give us a sequel. Give us the sequels, actually, because James Cameron is working on the second and third movie. So we're going to get them, folks. We're going to get it.
Yeah.
And that's going to be pretty cool. I have supreme confidence that we're going to get them. And that's our queen right there, Rosa Salazar. And I think that's the photo that Charlie took. I guess the day after it was one day after I talked to her, I guess. But, she certainly knocked it out of the park there at that Pasadena Playhouse. I mean, she was awesome in that thing, man. She knocked it. As they say in baseball vernacular, she knocked it out of the park. Or if you're a cricket fan, she hit for a 6. So, she did real well. I also want to give shout outs to El Lamont and Jesse Fisher. They brought Screwhead to life. And what we want to see is Screwhead and Alita team up on Alita's motorball team and take on Joshagon. That's what we want to see in the sequel. And, Screwhead and Alita make up, and because, Screwhead kind of wanted to collect the bounty on Alita, but, she kind of, as Elle said when we interviewed her, that, she's kind of pissed at, the powers that be kind of manipulated her and all that. And so she gets back with Alita and says, hey, girl, let's burn it all down. So, so they get teamed up and take on Joshagon's team, I guess, in Alita 2. And tomorrow on Radio Chaos, we're going to compare Alita to other cyborgs. Now, you see up there that those are all the cyborgs that are in the motorball match. We're going to go beyond that. We're going to compare them to those cyborgs. And as we were talking with Gabo there, Alita's tech is like hundreds of years ahead of these other cyborgs. These other cyborgs are like street punks. They don't they don't have the same kind of tech that she does. None of them have an inherent plasma weapon or anything like that like she does. And but we're also going to compare her with cyborgs and androids from other IPs, like the Terminator as an example, or say like Vision from the MCU, or Data from Star Trek. We're gonna kind of compare her with all of them.
Or Kusanagi from Ghost in the Shell.
Yep, we're gonna compare her to Motoko Kusanagi as well.
If I may make suggestions, get her against Smasher, get her against Shaitan, which is another character from another Fullborg from the Cyberpunk universe, and I second with Major Kusanagi. I want her against. I want to see that comparison.
Okay, well let me write down a couple of things here because I've got a bunch of them already. But Adam Smasher, that's a given. I know who that is. But who was this other one you were saying? The other
his name is Shaitan. He's
Shaitan.
Shaitan. Let me write it. Yeah, Shaitan, like this.
Oh,
he's from back in the day too, 2020s. He's one of the characters that went against Adam Smasher and lasted more than 5 minutes.
Oh, so he took it to him for a while, huh?
Yeah, he did it. He didn't beat Smasher, but he did give him a good tumble.
Yeah, cool. Well, we'll have to update my presentation on that as well, So kind of join us for that because we're going to have fun with that, because now granted, I'll tell you, Gabo, we're really, as you could tell, we're kind of slanted toward Alita on a lot of these comparisons. But I will say this: we had we've compared Alita to other characters like, say, Thanos,
Oh,
And
damn.
in her Imaginos 2.1 body, she definitely could kill Thanos. You know, because
Damn.
because she can move at relativistic speeds for one thing. I mean, she's seriously OP in that body. You know, so
she's faster than the Sandevistan.
yeah, she's a goddess in that body. Plus, she's got that tail. I kind of like that cat tail she has. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's another story.
And after that, she got angel wings. No, yeah, Gabo,
Yeah.
you have to read this manga. You're in
Yeah,
for a
you
ride
do.
because there's a lot of volumes.
Yes, yeah, you got to read it, Gabo. You got to read it, man.
I'll do it. I'll do it. You
Cool.
guys convinced me.
Cool.
Good.
So
yeah.
anyway, looks like we got another Alita Army member at least.
Yeah.
And
Count me
after the stream here, we're going to have what we call the Stammtisch. That's German for regulars party. Now we don't stream this. This is basically you just come on and you can talk to us if you want, you know, and we just hang out. We're not going to stay too long, you know, but it's not streamed to YouTube. It's none of that stuff, you know. It's just on this instance. And I did put the link in the chat, I think, a while ago, but I'll put it in there again just to make sure that you see it. So there it is right there. It's in the chat right now. So you click on that after the stream is over, and you don't. The stream doesn't have to be playing for you to click on that because we'll be here for a little while. And when I see you show up in backstage, I'll pull you in. So, and you can talk to all of us. And if you guys want to. Matu and Gabu, if you want to continue to talk about Cyberpunk, we can do that too. You know, we're not, you know, how would you say, we're not bigoted here about Alita. You know, we just love her a lot, you know. So, but anyway.
It's cool to see. It's cool to see how you guys, you know, how into it you guys are. It's heartwarming to see people like dedicated to stuff they love. It really is.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, we are the Alita Army, and as our, you know, rest in peace, John Landau said, we're Alita advocates. And I know on my channel, I support Alita and Rosa Salazar passionately and positively, and all of us in the Alita Army support Rosa and Alita passionately and positively. And of course, you know, we hold campaigns and that kind of stuff. And we are known as the most positive fandom on the internet. So why is this image here? Well, this image is here because I like it. And I am the producer and the manager of the stream. So there you have it. And to paraphrase Gruishka, I'm only here for our girl and the Alita Army. And of course, all of us in the Alita Army are only here for our girl. Just one more thing. We have that fundraiser going for the folks in LA. If you want to, if you could donate anything, no amount is too small. You know, just click on the link in the description below the screen here and down there below it. And it'll take you to the website and, you know, put whatever you can afford to put in there. And like I said, no amount's too small, and this is going for a good cause, and we're putting this into the greater good, all this money into the greater good. I guess they have a kind of a, it's like a collection for the folks that are suffering there in Los Angeles, and they are going to match our funds. So everything that we raise so far, they're going to match. So, you know, put that thing in there and we'll help some. It goes for a good cause. We're going to help folks, you know, and that's what we want to do. Okay, well, that just brings us one more thing, and that's our call to action. And that would be on my count of 3. And that would be 1, 2, 3.
Film
sequels,
baby. All right, so we will see you next week on the Alita live stream, and we will see you tomorrow on Radio Chaos.
Take care, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
What's up, Alita Army? This is Hot Toys Alita, and I hope you enjoyed this week's Alita live stream. Please join my Uncle Creek, Angelus, and our other guests for next week's show. Remember, I do not stand by in the presence of evil, and film those sequels, baby. See you next time.